Morning. Right, guys. Yeah, my Hydra's been going mental today. For a brand new keyboard, that's not a good thing, is it? Only stretch of the imagination. Basically, what it's been doing is you'd be playing it and it suddenly jump 3 or 4 semitones for no apparent reason and won't go back. Which makes such a lovely noise. Oh God, that's good. Let's see what we've got here. Right, let's get this going. There you go, if anybody wants to jump in. You don't just have my boring mug to stare at. But no, I don't know what's been going wrong with this Hydra, and it's not something I actually expected. Especially when you consider how much gear is in here at various ages. And the Deluxe is the only thing that's decided to have something go wrong, which is rather annoying when you think about it. So, I mean, all right, yes, it's new. I can contact ASM and say, oh, my Hydra's gone shat itself. Can you come and have a crack, see if you can, get it sorted for me? Right, dear.
How's it going?
Yeah. Hydra issues.
Oh no,
mostly. Yeah, she jumps out of tune all by herself.
Oh man.
Right, through it back. You all right, mate?
Evening.
Good. You all right? Yeah.
My 49 has no problems really, but I haven't heard about the new ones.
Yeah, the same here. The 49's rock steady Eddie. But it's funny enough, I was actually writing some stuff yesterday, well, all day yesterday, believe it or not. Supposed to be working, but hey, sodom. And then I come in to do some more to it this morning. As I'm playing, suddenly Hydra jumps, I'd say about 3 semitones down, but the MIDI data it was sending out to the VSTI remained the same. So that was a delicious mess. So if I play, a C, it records a C via MIDI, but actually plays something not akin to an A sharp or B flat, whatever you want to call them.
Could it be a screwed up MIDI split or something like that?
Nah, she's just straight in. And she jumps randomly. And one thing I have found though, if I smack the pitch wheel, it jumps back, but it will jump out again at some point. So, and I don't know whether it's that I calibrated the ribbon strip, and that sort of didn't do anything at all. So I'm wondering if it actually needs a new pot on the pitch wheel. Although it's something I haven't actually used greatly, so it can't be worn out. And it's still
Is the problem from day one, or you just had it happen?
No, it just started this morning for no apparent reason. Initially, I turned her off and sort of, I'll see if that sorts it all out. So I turned it off and turned it back on again. And
it got mad because you compared it to a CS80. So
yeah, it flipped out of that. So and it was sort of massive pain in the arse because I was right in the middle of writing. I had to knock it on the head because it became impossible to do any more writing. So I don't know. Well, I'll figure it out. So I'm kind.
Well, it's
kind
about
of,
time you opened it.
Well, yeah, I guess so. Oh no, wait a minute. No, I had to open it when I first got it because it had that shock to the box.
Yes. Yeah,
it wouldn't
power
power
supply
up.
was rattling around or something.
Yeah. So I've already opened her up before, so no new surprises or experiences there. And yeah, so there you go. So that's where I've been with that today. It's been a right pain in the ass. And what I was trying to do initially was do this thing Robbie was talking about changing parental, whatever the word is, control.
Oh yeah, because of the stream. Yeah, you got to have that off the stream.
Because like Robbie was saying, he goes, "Oh, I don't get any notifications when you do a show." I mean, don't you? No, I don't get anything. He goes, and he said it's something to do with it being set for kids or something like that. As if this was set for kids. Oy.
Well, that's the funniest thing, is that it's for kids, and look at the content.
Yeah, exactly.
The Richard Burton jokes and all that.
Yeah. This is not for kiddie winkies. No.
Isn't that just a setting in your channel settings or something? Or
well, if it is, I can't find it.
It's when you post the stream, you have to basically tell it public, private, and there's another setting in there for I forgot exactly what step it's in because I do it so often it's just a blur. But you have to tell it that, and then because you've set it to kid friendly, there's some other things that usually come up to make you jump through hoops.
Yeah.
And because I was doing some music posts like that, I was thinking, well, this is kid friendly because it's just music. But then I saw all the stuff I had to go through. I said, forget that. I'm just turning it not kid friendly.
Yeah, I mean, because normally, like, if I post up a video, you do that thing where, for kids or not and all this sort of thing. But when you use StreamYard and you do the show thing, you point it at YouTube and say, oh, also broadcast the stream on YouTube.
Yeah, you have the unique identifier for your stream.
Yeah, right. So there doesn't appear to be any step between,
It's there. You have to the page you get your unique identifier from, where you set up the YouTube channel. You have to basically it's in there. You have to kind of scroll down or go through.
Yeah, it's definitely in there. Because I did a Google and I went, oh, so how do you set the parental settings on your YouTube channel? Blah blah blah. And it says, go through these steps. And on the second step, it didn't work because it was going, there was something I was supposed to click on near the bottom called, I can't remember, but it wasn't in the list. Anyway, what they said I was looking for wasn't in the bleeding list in the first place. I go, oh, that's great.
Yeah, one of the problems I had was I was trying to do some live streams through my ATEM without any intervention, so I don't even need my computer. And the problem is the stream identifier doesn't change. But if I don't change it somehow, do a custom one, it keeps trying to write over the same stream. Like, I don't want that. I want to keep making new streams that are private that I can choose to unlock.
Yeah.
And not have to use a computer ever. The whole point of going hardware is I don't use a computer most of the time.
Yeah.
And ATEM almost does that. There's some stupid thing I'm missing, but I almost got it figured out where I can just at any moment hit the red button on the ATEM and fire off a live stream and no computer at all. So
yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, but yeah, so it's quite annoying because I really thought I had sort of everything sort of like honed down in here. I mean, I suppose we don't have to fight to get like bass noise levels down like we used to have to do in the 80s, where we mess with stuff to try and keep the noise floor as low as possible. Don't really have that these days, but although you can get it obviously. But so you thought, no, everything's sorted out. But it was doomed right from the start because when I started writing, I was going to play because the 80 being over there. And I'm actually doing all the work here, and I'm going, well, what I'll do is I will put my complete control, pull that out, and play the 80 via MIDI from that, because then it'll just be here. Because I'm one of those guys who likes to do everything sort of like, live environment, if you like. So I treat Cubase as though it was a multi-track recorder.
Yeah.
Well, at least to start with. I can mess with the data once it's in there, fine, but I'd like to record the stuff in like it's a recorder. So pull the Mark 1 out, and then suddenly there's little ball bearings falling on the floor, and then clunk, and down on the floor it goes. And I'm like, so then I spent 45 minutes trying to get that back in, and put straight everything that was wrong with it, and then the 80 wouldn't play on it. I'm going, oh, is it the cable? So I plugged the cable into the modal, played the modal, it played the 80. I go, right, it's the Mark 1, so I start messing around with it, and will it send MIDI data? Will it fuck? And so I'm on Google again. All right, you have to put it into
A certain mode.
controller mode so it sends out the data. But none of the buttons on the front panel are working. I'm going, oh, there's something else I have to open up and repair now. So I trip to the floor, and now the instance and the shift button aren't working, and the control lights don't fire up anymore. And I'm going, oh, here we go.
Multiplexer issue.
Yeah. So I could have gone into the spare bedroom next door and grabbed the Complete Control Mark 2 61 and brought it in instead. I'm going, no, I wanted to use the 88 weighted. And so spent ages trying to get that to work.
Yeah, sorry, I missed part of that. What's the Complete Control thing?
Native Instruments. Complete
Oh,
Control.
right,
That
okay.
two-way
Right, with the K,
communication.
complete. Right, that's right.
Yeah. So, so I could have used the 61 Mark II instead, but it's sort of like, it's in the other room, and
That thing's kind of bright, too. The Complete has a lot of lights on it, right? Doesn't it have a...
yeah. Well, on the Mark IIs, you have like those big displays, high-res, two big high-res displays on it. The Mark 1 is just those 8 little windows with just controls, but still the buttons are
the scribble strips, yeah.
Yeah, and so I couldn't get it to go into I think what they called remote mode and play the 80 with it. So in the end, I just ended up playing the 80 via the modal, but it was a bit more of a stretch, So,
Yeah, I have a remote, little remote keyboard. It's basically like my little X station, but it's just a controller. Nice stuff. I always like the Novation stuff.
Yeah. Well, it was quite stupid really when I thought, because it was only until I went, all right, forget it, abandon that idea, that I realised that I had the SL88 Studio Logic weighted here, and I could have used that instead. I MIDI'd it from there instead. Oh yeah, I forgot about that. That's the trouble with putting keyboards near the floor, you forget you got them.
Yes.
Is that also a Fatara keyboard in that? Because I like the keyboard in my Sledge is actually pretty nice. It's not weighted, but it's nice. It's a nice keyboard.
Yeah, it's a nice. I've got the whatchamacallit? Is it the special edition one? One with the black and grey keys.
Yeah, that's one I have. Yeah.
Yeah. And whereas the Studio Logic S88 is wooden keys.
Ah, right.
It's like
Proper keyboard. Yeah.
a proper keyboard. It was a stupid amount of money for something that doesn't make any noise.
And heavy. Yeah.
Yeah, it really. Even though it's not very, it's only. I'd say it was about 10 inches deep, 11 inches deep or so. But it was like.
Yeah, I have no idea why my Fusion 8 HD is so heavy, because it has weighted keys, but what else is in that thing to make it so goddamn heavy? Because it's not a fancy keyboard really. It feels decent, but the whole unit is one of the heaviest things I have.
It's solid metal case.
It must be, or like ballast in there, some kind, some shit they threw in there.
They're using like 2 mil, well even 2 mil alley.
It's pretty solid.
It's still quite weighty, but obviously if it's in steel, it's like really quite weighty.
This thing is really fucking heavy though. I mean, I was shocked when I got it. I'm like, that thing doesn't look that heavy, but it's pretty much the heaviest thing I have. And I have a EX5, and I have some other stuff that isn't light.
But it does make a difference when you're playing to actually having the
Oh, sure.
solidity.
It just sucks if you ever have to move it a bunch. So
Oh, you tell me about it.
Yeah, because I used to have this sort of like open plan studio where I'd have keyboards up against the wall, and maybe a couple of desks, and go, right, today I'm going to use that keyboard, and then wire them up, and then right, off we go. And then halfway through the session, go, no, actually I want to use that one as well, so unplug that one and bring that one over. And I just got fed up with that. And it was no, I want it properly set up. And so when Mum died, I thought, right, I'll convert the bedroom into a permanent setup, which I have changed 4 times in 2 years. Nothing is permanent.
well, look at Randy did. Randy took over a whole room that was like a family room. He has this huge room now.
Yeah.
He's got tons of space in there. Really annoying.
Like every time I walked past the front room, Fiona's there going, no, you're not coming in here with that. You've already filled it with keyboards. No more.
Just tell her you're doing your impression of Ty. You want to have multiple rooms for the...
Yeah. I'm in Studio 2 today. Yeah. So,
but I think every studio should be from waist height upwards. I can't stand having keyboards down by my somewhat large feet.
I was expecting
having
Andy
to bend down to
old
use
Andrew
them.
Brooks to come in. Come on, Brooksy babe. I would have expected you to come online by now. Doesn't matter if you're butt naked in your dressing gown. Come on. He always adds an air of education to the talks, doesn't he?
Yes.
He's probably trying to avoid that so he doesn't have to spend more money, because you always have stuff to get people excited to spend money. So.
Yeah. And I'll just show off all the Behringer gear I've got on the desk. Because at least if we want it, it doesn't cost.
Well, did you see the PPG copy that they showed?
Yeah.
The prototype.
I nearly put a comment on it going, oh wow, that's fantastic. Something else I can wait for to come out that probably won't.
I think they will deliver on everything they've announced. I think it will happen.
Deep down, I think they will. But I know they were having problems with... what was it they were working on? They were having real problems with, and they abandoned it. Oh, it was the Oscar.
Yes.
They were having real problems with cloning the Oscar. And I think they've abandoned it.
Wasn't it about trying to get the oscillators to sound right or something?
Yeah. And... or trying to get the build quality that crap.
Well, this is the problem.
Hardest things.
I mean, the Oscar wasn't a particularly sophisticated synth, was it?
Well, it was a consortium, wasn't it? It was there was Chris doing the electronics. They had who else had thrown money into it? It was an injection molding company and a double glazing company.
I never knew that.
Oh, well, this is why the front panel of the Oscar is a windowsill, double glazing windowsill.
Oh, fantastic.
That's why it's the shape it is. And then all the bars and everything is the materials they use to make those old double glazed windows.
The old aluminium framed ones.
Yeah. And so you just drill some holes in it, print the controls on, and then the injection mould guy goes, oh, I can make end caps and bits for it. And boom, bod's your auntie.
And the electronics came third.
Can
I go to bed yet?
Evening, Andy.
I am in my gym jams and my dressing gown and everything.
I thought you might be.
I'm just all snuggled up with a nice pint of beer. Just like, oh, God, Kenton, I'll just have a watch. I'll just sit and watch, and then you've gone and bullied me into it.
Yeah, come on. Say something intelligent.
Yeah, I will do. Nifty Keys. Has anyone seen that tonight? Nifty Keys? Nobody?
Nifty Keys?
Well, yeah. Well, Nifty, who made the little Nifty case for Modular, they've released a 4-octave keyboard with a Euro rack. enclosure on the top with a load of MIDI capabilities and all sorts of it. I'm going, oh my god, that's just screaming want. That is just
Actually, I saw that. As long as I use a good keyboard, it's worth it.
yeah, it looks it looks really good. It looks really good. Better than the Waldorf in terms of its spec and all sorts. About 500 quid. Now, I'm thinking, oh my god, no, more money. Yeah, Max just saying he was looking at it. Yeah, it is. Yeah, 499 RRP, Cressy. Yeah, it's seriously. I'm thinking, about time.
So built-in power supply, CV,
built-in power supply, CV,
MIDI.
gate, MIDI, 4 channels of CV, and addressable over MIDI, an output module built in, buffered mults built in. And going, this is just great. I mean, you add all that up and you go, well, that's easy worth 500 quid. So I'm thinking, yeah, and it would just sit there. It would just sit there, just nicely here. All right, Jim.
Hello.
Evening, Jim.
Can you hear me?
Back. You all
How
right?
you doing?
Why are you in a convent? Oh no, convert. Sorry.
No, that
We'll have
takes
none
me
of
back
that
to primary
around
school.
here.
Yeah.
Oh, I tell you what, a Studio One convent. Yeah, I
Studio
could
One
deal with that. Yeah.
That'll be all right.
What's the nun's chuffs, right? Isn't that what they were talking
Oh,
about?
don't just stop it.
Oh, dear.
Oh man.
But that keys thing is, they all the research was done by Waldorf, and they decided not to make it anymore. So it's a perfect opening for that company.
Absolutely. Apparently, Robin Vince, was it Robin or was it Nick? I watched 2 of the reviews. I watched Nick Batt's review and I watched Robin Vincent's, and one of them was saying that they'd already had it in development whilst the KB37 was still in production, and now that's gone out of production. It's like, well, we've got to get this thing going. Oh yeah, it's wide open. Get on with it. What a great idea. Glad they've done it. Yeah, I mean, Keith in Watford's just said there's at least 5 reviews. Yeah, there are loads. I watched, obviously everyone watches Nick Batt, don't they? Because he's just dead good, and Robin's always enthusiastic. It's just, yeah, what a great idea. Well done. And it's big. I mean, a 4-octave thing, it's not a small chunk of stuff. It's going to be, it would be pretty massive sitting here.
Yeah.
Well, I think, yeah, what a great idea.
How many HP is it?
111, I think. So it's slightly bigger than a sort of standard skiff. But you've then got the controllers on the side, and it's all the other bits and bobs that it's got on the top, which means you don't have to have those as little modules like mults and an output module and that sort of thing. Oh yeah, it's just it just says buy me on it, really. Oh no.
I think it's going to be a gateway to Eurocrack.
Oh, yeah, I was about to say
Well,
it's probably very
really
good for
could be,
people
Jim.
starting.
Yeah, absolutely, because it's having the keyboard attached. I mean, there is that. I've said this before about. I mean, things like samplers and samplers with keyboards, and having that immediate. There's a connection to it. I found that, and there is a sort of disconnection between the modular up there and the keyboard. I know I can plug it in and play it, but it feels like everything should be within the system. But having it all in one box, I mean, that's where Waldorf actually got it right with that KB37. Is that they really, it was just a no-brainer really. Why don't you do that? It's got a keyboard on it, play it. But I know a lot of modular is to try and get you away from the idea of just playing the usual crap that you always play on a keyboard and so on. But still, it's
Well, Waldorf also had some quality complaints on that thing. So
some quality complaints
on the KB37, yeah.
It didn't have a 5-volt rail.
Well, also just some general quality stuff. Like I noticed with my Blofeld, the knobs don't track the best. I mean, it's a great unit sound wise, but physically the Blofeld has some issues. So sometimes their mechanical stuff isn't so awesome.
Well, yeah, it's a bit unusual, that, isn't it, from a German company? But yeah, I remember Gaz did a show where he'd got a module that he really wanted to use, and he put it in the KB37, and it just would not work. And it wouldn't work because it powered itself off 5-volt rather than plus or minus 12. I think now all the physics people out there will be going, electronics specialists will be going, no, you got it wrong.
Well,
Andy."
Deptford had that problem too. I had to add a 5-volt module to my Deptford racks because they didn't include it by default, and Mutable needed 5-volt for some of their stuff.
I
mean,
thought
QD is just 5-volt.
I thought all Eurorack power supplies were plus and minus 12 and plus and minus 5. and 0, Earth.
Yeah, but apparently the KB37
Not DEF
isn't.
no, they're not. You have to add it.
Oh, so much for the standardisation then.
Well, yeah, it's like MIDI standard, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
TRS MIDI of the A and the B.
Yeah, Cresshead's just said it's 112 HP, so it's like the
And has
those
aftertouch.
original skiffs. Yeah, aftertouch and velocity, all built in and all channelable from a jack, so you can just take the velocity jack out and plug it where you want it to go. Oh, absolutely bloody genius! Sorry, I'm well stoked by that one. It's one of the most exciting things I've seen in ages.
So you were saying about the idea of modular being getting away from the keyboard, but you mean like musical scales?
Yeah, Jim. Yeah, getting away from that. I didn't want to do that. So that's all I do anyway. But yeah, don't tease me.
Funnily enough, I had a conversation with Ty on the phone today about why is it called E flat and not D sharp, and then going on about double sharps, and then I could feel my brain trying to escape through one of my ears.
Well, you'll never find a guitarist playing G flat.
No.
Yeah, we see this is
Exactly.
what it was. It was. We were talking about his track, and I said about how I love the way it goes down to. I think it's D sharp, and he goes, "It's no, it's E flat."
No.
I'm going, "Oh, okay." And he goes, he said, "No." He said, no, don't ever say D sharp. I'm going, okay. It's just that the key that I went to was the D sharp, which is the black one next to the D. And he goes, and he's going, "No, it's all about the relationship of the other notes and what the scale is for that." I'm going,
Did he mention two phrases to you, Kent? Did he say just intonation and then equal temperament?
no, he said this phrase, "Go get a fucking book on it."
Oh, no, that's Ty. I'm sorry, me just
yeah,
going
yes.
fancy
yeah.
fucking
Learn
words.
music theory and get
Yeah,
back to me.
and you know what? he said you might find that if you actually sit down and try and learn music theory, you might have just more colours in your palette. And I went, okay, I'm up for that. So I went on Amazon and there was a couple of books
You might have
there.
less actually. As
Well,
you then sort of
yeah,
impose
there's
rules on
always
Stop to be
yourself.
rigid.
But what I can do is pick what I go, oh, I like that, and take it with me.
But technically, theory books will use those terms. They will call something the alternate, the flat, or the sharp, depending on the orientation, because technically that's what you're doing. You're flatting or sharping something. So people don't like the name of it, but if you're going by the rules, you can call it that. It just makes people mad.
Yeah.
I think the rules are wrong.
Yeah. what I find is best is to never actually talk about it. It's a bit like Fight
Especially
Club,
with
isn't it?
Ty. Yeah.
Yeah, but this is the stupid thing, because I said to Ty today, because I phone him up at about lunchtime and tell him to get off his arse and go and get a cup of coffee and get away from the fucking computer for 5 minutes. He go, yeah, it's all right, and goes in and makes a coffee. Otherwise he won't. He'll be there all bloody day. And I said to him, I said, you know, when I played you a bit of your track to you, on air, as it were. And he went, yeah. I go, what the fuck was I thinking? When you stopped me? He'd go, why? I said,
It sounded good, apart from a couple of notes. It actually sounded pretty good.
well, it was all
You're a
right,
harsh
but
critic, Sassy.
the thing was, he goes, oh, sorry. The thing was, he said, he goes, so how many tracks are you using? I said, no, I was playing that live. Because how can you be playing all of that live? I said, well, that's the thing. That's what I like to do. I very rarely track stuff. I want to do it so I can do it all off the bat, and that way I can wander around with it, you know. Because once it's up on the screen, it's set, and you can't mess with it. Obviously, other than editing it, but I mean on the fly. And he goes, yeah.
Well,
he said, well, your flutes were wrong, and I said, well, that's the nearest I could find in minimal that I was playing down this end.
When you're using
Along
were
with
you
the
using
chord.
the Hydra and the Rolly?
Yeah, using the Hydra, the Rolly, then there's this trick I do to get a bass note. When you hold a chord down and you want a bass note that's like 2 octaves lower, ideally, what I do is I call up Own Force's Minimoog 72,
Right.
or any VST mono synth that
Just
has
map
a low
the
note
key, map the
priority.
key to it. Yeah.
Yeah, we just all it has to have is the low note priority, and then I make sure. So when I do because I'm only doing 2 notes for the main chords, because otherwise it gets too cluttered because it's too low. It will play the bass note, and so I always make sure that my little finger is always the first key to touch the keyboard when I move to the next chord, so that the Minimoog moves to that one and doesn't go to pick up the upper one and then go to the low one when you hit it.
Yeah.
And then play the lead up the top. And it went from, mad bugger to, oh no, it's pretty genius, that is. I'm going, is it? Yeah, that's quite clever actually. Went, okay, if you say so. So
But you could just do a keyboard split on it, couldn't you? On the Hydra.
oh yeah,
Sorry,
you can do the keyboard
Prometheus
split.
has just made me laugh.
Go on.
He's just said, Andy, are you pimping yourself out? And I'm going, what? What are you on about? Pimping myself out. And then I've just realised what it says underneath my head. Right.
Yeah, available.
Yeah, well, it's only because you said other twats are available, so that's what
Yeah.
And what you're wearing.
So,
Yeah.
sorry,
Yeah, I was about to
brother.
ask you how
And
much.
it
I was a
turned
bit
out it
slow.
was you.
How much?
Well, you actually look like you're between customers, Andy. But
I am, actually. I am.
Oh dear me.
It's just a steady flow. Sometimes I just can't keep them away, You can get too much of a good thing, and people know that and are willing to pay for it. So
we'll
Have
do
you- have
tricks
you-
for Euro rack.
Yes.
it's bloody expensive, Jim. I've got to do something. I want both my kidneys. I drink too much beer to be without one.
Oh man. No, I must admit, yeah, keyboard splits are all well and good with the keyboard that you're using, but then there's the MIDI data it's sending out.
Yeah.
And it starts getting a little bit
Yeah.
wobbly after that.
Andrew's thing reminded me there was an old
point.
SNL sketch from the early '80s, late '70s. They still did sketches on film, and it was a whole scam with Columbia House. So you send a penny and you get 13 records, and you're like an indentured servant to pay off the
One
records.
of those things, yeah.
And they had a thing where it's a Columbia House was like a bunch of fake psychiatrists trying to get kids to stop playing video games. They're junkies for video games,
Yeah.
and they showed this is Samantha, a video junkie. She makes her money a quarter at a time because she's hooked on video games.
Oh, heck.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, pretty crazy.
Yeah.
On a totally different note, I want to say to Jim, that album's great. That Sounds for Freedom album is great. From beginning to end, great. Such a variety, loads of great tracks. The one that you mentioned to me, actually is brill. Your track is, but it's just great. So everybody, go out and get that album that Jim's on. It's, well, I've got what it's called. Yeah, Sounds for Freedom. It's on Bandcamp. Is it Sounds for Freedom? Yeah. It is. It's really great. Really great.
You scared him off now.
I have scared him off. Bye.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned it, Andy, because I've bought it and
Yeah.
still I forgot that I've bought it. I must
Give it a listen. It's really
download it, and
good. It's
put
really
it on.
good. It's it's very electronic, but the variety from one track to the next is a bit like the Sonic State album. There's actually a lot of different styles going on,
Yeah.
but every track's well worth listening to. So really enjoyable, especially Jim's. His is great. But they're all good. So that was I've got the advert out of the way. So go and buy it, you buggers.
Yeah. Yeah. Now click and subscribe. Whatever that.
Now, Sassy, you've got to put the link in the chat because I can't do that.
Oh yeah.
I'll have to dig it out. Hang on.
Ticket. Sorry, Jim, you
It's
disappeared.
all right. Stop talking about you now.
We've stopped talking about you now. You can come back. sorry for embarrassing you. You didn't have to go and run and hide.
Sorry, I can take a compliment,
Well, I suspected you could.
They're quite rare these days, but
So what is it about Studio One that you're finding so glorious that you want to wear a habit?
This console one.
Console One.
The integration is absolutely, it's worth it. If you've got you're using Cubase anyway, aren't you? So
Yeah.
So you have the integration in that.
Yeah.
Whereas if you use Logic, because it's not VST3, the communication doesn't work properly, so you can't have... It'll alter the volume on the faders, but not the actual faders within Logic.
Are we talking about the death of Logic here?
I don't know.
That,
I mean,
though. I can't see that. It's so integrated into the Mac world, isn't it?
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
But I'm hearing a lot of people now saying about, yeah, no, I don't use Logic so much anymore. I'm going, really? Well, this is something I wasn't expecting to be hearing from people.
I prefer the sound of the mix engine in Studio One. I don't know if that's just placebo effect, but to my ears it sounds way better. All the sounds are really far more distinct, less sort of face smeary, really much more sort of pinpointing the stereo field. It's just more three-dimensional. Just sounds loads better. But yeah, it's really odd. But yeah, it was the Console 1 integration that I've just wanted for years now. And we implement it, possibly with the Audio Unit 3 spec or whatever, but it just doesn't seem to be happening. And I got Studio One a while back, probably about a year ago actually, and never really got fully round to implementing it, partly because of issues that I had with the model cycles, Andy, and sort of clocking of that. Just didn't seem... It always missed the first beat unless you do like this workaround.
I mean, I haven't myself ever used it. It's always been Grace that's been using it because it's hers. So, but there is definitely something, and it's like, so do you know
it basically it misses the first beat, so you have to basically make it sort of one tick after the start, and then it'll catch it.
Slightly strange. So, I mean, in order to solve our sync issues, which we had with all of that, is that I take a clock out of the Microfreak. It's got a clock out which is synced via MIDI to the cycle or something in Grace's setup. But I just take a clock out. But what you don't get from that is any kind of
transport,
reset or start or so I've always got to go 2, 3, 4 and press go. We've even done one where we just set it to 120 and just made sure we press play at the same note. We used the Gerald Simpson method of syncing. We just press play at the same time, And, but it's just strange. There is something about the cycles which is not right. Now I don't know if that's deliberate. So you go out and buy a posh box, like what you've got.
I don't think it's deliberate. A lot of their screw-ups are just, screw-ups. But
because it doesn't work quite right, and you've just got to be aware of it. You think, because I was just saying, I'm not crazy. It's MIDI. It's MIDI clock. You press play and you start and you stop. It sends information. No, it doesn't work like that. It's an electron box.
It's no longer in my my setup. I sold that.
No, it's a shame because it sounds. It sounds great. I mean, people that have said to me, FM sounds great. I mean, I've got the what they call that Simulus. That's essentially an FM module, really, for being honest. But the way that works and the way it sounds, just a few little tweaks, and you're off into weird territory.
I mean, I could make full-on like experimental techno tracks on just a model cycles and nothing else, and it'd be really sort of, like nothing you've ever heard.
Well, did you see that new or that latest version of DexEd that runs on a Raspberry Pi bare metal?
Yeah.
But bare metal, so you can have 8 instances. So it's basically a TX-802.
Oh right.
Yeah.
Wow.
Hey, Jim, do you have a Digitone?
I've got a Digitone. Yeah.
Yeah, those are great.
It's amazing. I mean, the tones you can get out of that, it's just
the tone and tact combo are really good.
Yeah.
I've got a mindfuck question for you.
Cool.
Oh, there we go.
I know a lot of people who will, if they have to or want to use Cubase on their Mac, run it on a Windows virtual machine. So why is there a Mac download of Cubase?
Some
people
people can't
not
handle
run
VMs. It's hard to
Mac
set it up.
natively? What does
Yeah.
Ben Simpson do? He runs Cubase on a Mac, doesn't he? Is he not running it natively?
I don't know. I know so many people who use Cubase, but they say, yeah, they run it in the Windows virtual machine. I go, then why is there a Mac version of it?
Because people do run it on Mac.
Was it
Yeah.
dongled originally? So was it something that they see and then moved over to a crapple that they just wanted to?
God knows. Because I noticed in some of the blurb, in some of the tiny writing near the bottom. Remember how everyone was going, oh yeah, no, Cubase 12's coming out, but they're dropping VST 2, and all this sort of thing. And then I was very surprised at how much VST 2 stuff I still have running quite happily.
Yeah.
in
I think
Cubase.
I
Then
think
it
it's
turns
just
out
the
it's only
dropping
on
future
the Mac.
support or whatever. Ah,
On the
right.
Mac, the 2s are dropped.
Right.
But on the PC ones, apparently the 2s are still, well, apart from Sound Toys.
Well,
Yeah.
emulation's been tricky. If you ever use old Mac emulators like Sheep Shaver or Basilisk 2, they generally didn't, because of the timing issues because of emulation, the MIDI just didn't work. Either they didn't include it because timing was way off, or they just had issues. But with VMs and stuff like Wine and things like that, it's much better now. So
Yeah. Because I think even Richard Hilton runs his Cubase on a virtual machine, which did get me thinking,
Right.
so why did they do a Mac download of it? Oh. It's one of those weird
Yeah, I mean, I didn't even consider going back to Cubase. It just wasn't really sort of... Mind you, saying that, it was partly because I got this Presonus interface, and then there was like a nice upgrade path to the full version of Studio One.
So
was,
it
pretty
wasn't
cheap.
350 quid or whatever then.
No. Actually, they were really reasonable because they didn't actually specify on their site that it was only certain upgrades, quantum interfaces that were eligible for a really cheap upgrade. And so they honoured the fact that the one that I got, that they made sure that I got it for the same price, which was about 80 quid or something.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Can't argue
Yeah,
with that.
the support was really good, actually. I can't really say enough about Presonus support. They do seem to sort of have it together. Yeah.
I think this is the most music technology I've ever talked about on this show ever. For the longest period of time, isn't it?
playing catch up, right? So
It's almost like PSN. What the hell's going on?
I still need to be able to get to pipe music through into this stream easily, but I can't get my head around that at all. It's like I've looked at
Don't you
loop
just
back
use
and-
the same interface that your mic plugs into?
Yes, it's using the same two channels. Well, basically, this is sort of
But your
kind
headphones
of
are in a different one. And then
yeah. My
I
headphones
play-
are on a direct monitoring path through my Safe Sound audio processor.
Yeah.
So that basically takes. I've got an output, physical outputs coming out of my interface into the monitor input path on that the mic and headphones are plugged into. So that's how I can hear everything from my machine through a really good headphone amp as well.
Yeah, because I had this thing where I discovered that some interfaces support foldback and others don't.
Yeah, this doesn't. You have to configure it all in software. It doesn't have any kind of mixer application.
Yeah, because I mean initially the problem I was having here was like if I had played the studio through the stream on the Mac, I couldn't hear the stream unless I turned the monitor on. But if I turn the monitor on, then the mic goes all echoey, and so you turn it off. Pretty much like what Richard Hilton was having problems with last week, but not quite.
No,
so
it's
bad.
in the left.
Yeah, no, now it's stereo. Yeah,
Now we can't hear the synth.
yeah. And it was bizarre.
I did watch
because-
that for hours.
Yeah, but that's the bizarre thing was he was having this problems using this revelator, although it was built into his mic.
Yeah,
And I'm not
with the
having any
actual-
problems after I bought the revelator on
Yeah.
his recommendation to get rid of the
Windows.
echoing problems. And because even when I got it so I could hear, or everybody else could hear what I played come out onto the stream, and I could actually hear it as well, I couldn't hear it in my headphones if it was plugged into the Mac, even though that's where everything was plugged in. I actually had to connect that. Well, if I connected it to the front of the audio interface, which the mic wasn't plugged into, then I wouldn't hear the mic. And I couldn't hear what the stream was, so I didn't know if it was working or not. So he said, no, get the revelator, and then you can use the headphone socket on the revelator. Don't use the headphone socket on the Mac, because you cannot map it internally from the audio input. I'm going, seriously? You can't map the audio in to the headphone out on a Mac Mini? Okay, even though in the selections you can do it, but you still don't hear anything. It's like,
Yeah.
Well, I found that with my little cheap Behringer interface.
yeah,
If I have the mic gain set as it is, and the volume, so I'm not being deafened by you, I can't hear my voice. But if I either turn the mic gain up or really crank the volume on the interface, then yes, I can hear my own voice through the headphones.
yeah.
But it's really uncomfortable listening to you lot shouting.
Yeah.
So it's just one of those, weird things. It's different when you're using a mixer as
Yeah.
opposed to trying to talk to people online.
Well, it's like when I said to Robbie, I said, well, look, I've got it all working now. I've got it sorted. And I said, it's taken 5 weeks and nearly 1,200 quid. And he went, yeah, I had that same sort of problem. I go, I wish you'd told me that before, and I wouldn't have been bothered.
Yeah. We'll do a
I would
challenge.
have just gone,
Yeah.
1,200 quid.
yeah, on the various... Yeah, I went to town a little as well. I go, well, might as well
I've
get
just-
new cables while we're at it.
I've just solved my problem, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
I've turned the USB audio codec volume down on the PC, so that's down. I normally have it around 50. That's now at 4, and I've cranked the volume up on the interface,
Yeah.
and I can hear my voice and I can hear you.
Yeah.
So I think it's just bugging around with the settings to get something that you feel comfortable with.
Yeah.
Although I've got to say I prefer not hearing my own voice,
But didn't you get a mic?
as I'm sure
upgrade at
you
some
do as
point?
well. But
No.
Yeah, I can never hear myself when I use the ATEM. I hear myself in local speakers. That's it.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's been a lot. Well, in the end, I ended up having to do a complete rewire because I plugged in so many different things in so many different combinations, and because all the cabling's all threaded through everything, I go, well, just leave the get some more cables, and I'll just use those cables and try it out. And in the end, like I said, there was about 48 cables that were not connected either end.
yeah.
All routed through the... I was going, no wonder I couldn't find anything. It's like ridiculous.
So now you have a cupboard full of cables.
Yeah, but what I have is a cupboard. It's all the big long ones that are too long for in here. From when I was... because I had the studio and the workshop for a while. Because I wasn't working. And set it all up, and you needed much longer cables out. So I got all these lovely long cables from Amazon, but they're putty. I mean, it will go from that 80 all the way round out the door and onto the landing. So unless I put the mixer out on the landing, I'm not getting the benefit. You know what I mean?
You don't have to have them so that they're actually stretched taut. They can sort of...
No, but the average mic cable is 6 meters, I think, and when your mic is 1 foot from your PC.
I know, it's mental.
Yeah, well, that's what I did in the end. I bought 12 of these shortish cables to do over this side with the new mixer, and I must admit I'm really impressed with that mixer. It's really, really, really nice, and it wasn't expensive at all.
Which mixer is that, Ken?
Now I've got to try and pronounce it. That's the thing. It's not a name I'd heard of before. How's it pronounced? Well, it'd be good if I could see it. Hang on. Depenbushung. Oh, Jesus. It's Depenbusheng.
Debusheng.
That's
Never
something
heard.
like- Yeah. It's called a DA12.
Depusheng.
Depusheng, or something like that.
Depusheng. No.
It's a
I mean,
solid metal mixer. It's really beautiful, built-in effects, blah 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 blah, and it was 156 quid. But I'd never heard of them before. But I saw 156 quid and went, okay, I'm up for that. Furious Googling in the background.
Yeah, I'm just
See
looking
what
on
comes up.
Amazon. They've
DA12
got-
it is, the model.
Yeah, they've got a DE8 for 65 quid.
so obviously a Chinese thing, is it?
Yeah.
Well,
Is that Amazon
Saying-
special?
it could very well be.
I see a lot of crazy stuff on Amazon.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh
there
yeah,
wa-
DJ sound controller interface with USB drive for computer recording, 12-channel stereo audio mixer XLR.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And does the job absolutely beautifully.
I'd say it's probably one of the cheapest things you can get with XLR because
159 quid, yeah.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. Maybe they're trying to make an impression in the market, so they're doing a nice product quite cheap, and then they'll start churning out shit later.
It's got Bluetooth and does MP3s as well.
Mm.
Wow.
Yeah. So I thought that was quite handy. So I got all the shit wolf going through it, the modal, the Strifest, the TR8, the TT78, the Univox SR95, and the MPCX, which I can now almost navigate without a map. Getting quite good at that. Once I figured out how you got rid of the default screen that went to demos only. So it goes to an actual template instead of the demo. Because once I got
Start
into the
button.
demo screens, I couldn't get out of
Press
it.
that button.
well, it's
Oh,
like the
yeah.
live. I still haven't used my live that much, and there's just so many pages and quick keys and combinations, and
Yeah.
it's pretty inundating still. So
But there's some really fantastic videos.
Octatrack.
Oh,
Still
that's a fun
absolutely bamboozled by that.
yeah, exactly. That's why I never bought one.
But I managed to fire up that Shite Wolf for about 10 or so minutes. I've never turned it on, never heard it. So I turned it on and started using it. And I'm going, right, I can hear what all the complaints is referring to. Fucking hellfire.
Some sour notes of the tuning and
Oh, yeah, and volume differences were like, seriously?
well, when you consider the oscillators are basically the one oscillator from the Rhythm Wolf, it's no wonder that most people hate that thing because the Rhythm Wolf sounds terrible for the most part.
Well, see, the other thing I thought was quite interesting was it's not really. I thought it was a inverted commas synthesizer of some description, but technically it's
Tone
a
generator.
TB303 with a keyboard on it, isn't it? It's an
It's not even that,
arpeggiator
though.
type thing, sequency thing, isn't it? Okay.
It
Oh,
doesn't get close.
okay.
And the way they do the hi-hats on the Rhythm Wolf, it's basically it's the same circuit with some slight tweaks, and there's almost no variation. It's really sad. I tried to use it the other day in a recording, and I go, yeah, I'm not touching this for a while.
Well, it's like, I
It
tell you
sounds
what,
terrible.
I made Robbie's eyebrows raise because when he was over and he was down the studio, I said, and he's going, he said, oh, he said, you know, the analog sound of those memory modes, I mean, wow, and all the rest of it. I said, yeah, now listen to the white noise. And I played him the white noise. And I went, listen carefully. And he went, it's a loop. I went, yep. Yeah. Yeah. It's an 8-bit page recording built into one of the EPROMs.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah.
The white noise on a memory mode is a sample of noise.
It's a sample of it. But there again, it is
Well,
on
it's
the OB8.
it's just random bytes.
It is on the OB8 as well. You can hit, but on the memory mode, you can hear it go ka-tink, 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 ka-tink as it cycles. You can actually physically hear it changing.
I never knew that.
Yeah, it's absolutely. It's like it's not even a good sample of it. Not even a good sample of white noise. And you think,
Yeah,
well,
they
white noise,
couldn't
that's-
crossfade it or anything. That's terrible.
Yeah, when you go, but normally with white noise, you go, well, that should be relatively easy to find a loop because the loop point will be anywhere you
Anywhere.
want, right? And it goes ka-chunk, 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 and you can physically hear it looping badly.
That's what gives it some sense of rhythm.
Yeah, and that's what you want in a polysynth that originally cost as much as a brand new car.
It's character.
Adds character, yeah. I think the idea was, he goes, you won't hear the loop when you've got the other BCOs over the top. It'll be all right. Wrong.
So literally lost in the noise, right? So
You're literally lost in the noise. Yeah, so I always wondered why nobody did sort of like, anything like an oceanscape on a memory mode, that business. It go it sounded like no, it's a train in the distance. That's not ocean. So, because besides, anyway, to get a good ocean sound, you use white noise. You've got to use high pass and low pass filters together in correspondence to each other, haven't you? So the 80 does it beautifully. I mean, really beautifully. But it's just fiddly. But I think what was one of the best machines for it? I'm trying to remember which one it was now.
I'm going to jump in and say the fact that on an SH101 you can directly send noise to modulate the filter makes that really, really nice. The wind and sea and that sort of sound, you can get really okay. It doesn't have a high pass, but you can do that and just push it, move it, and it sounds rumbly. You get a rumble from that, which you don't get if you're just sending the noise via an audio path through the filter. So you send the noise to modulate the filter cutoff, and it's great.
But
Really
you can
nice
get on
little
a memory
SH101
mode.
trick.
On a memory mode, the noise is you can feed to the VCOs, which is completely fucking useless.
As in to modulate the VCSOs with the noise, which is loops
Yeah.
and goes click, click, click.
No, on the little Minimac.
On the Minimac, right.
Yeah. So you send the noise, and it's just sort of like fucks them up. I did have a chappie. It was this year as well. A chappie brought in his memory move saying it was all terrible. It was all out of tune and all over the place. And it was, I said, your modulation source is set to VCO. Turned it the other way.
that's one of the secret tricks of the OP1 is use the FM radio built in to modulate anything.
Yeah. That's
And then you have
clever.
the most amazing modulation source ever.
Yeah, and it's completely random.
Yeah.
Love it. I like that kind of thing.
You see,
I've had
when-
that
when-
with who else did this? Oh, it's because it's the same thing on the P5. With the what was it on the P5 where you can modulate? Was it P5? I can't remember if it was P5 now. I know there's one with yet another keyboard where the guy was using noise source, and he wondered why his tuning was all really screwed up. So,
In fact, there's a well-known
Sweet.
radio you can buy. I bought it on Amazon, and I wired in a CV jack, so I can use my little FM radio on my modular to modulate stuff like the OP1 does.
yeah, it's a clever idea, isn't it?
It also does AM, FM, and shortwave. So you get different frequencies and weird stuff. So it's good for sampling as well as for modulation.
Yeah, you get all it's like on the AM radios you can get all sorts of weird and wonderful
Weird ass
carrier
stuff. And
sig-
scanners
yeah.
too, especially. Scanner radios make some of the nastiest buzzes ever. I usually use them for vocoding.
Yeah, really clever stuff that was floating around. Being
I've got a
used.
Yaesu 857D that can generate lots of noise, but that's normally other radio hams.
But yeah, I mean, it's been some pretty good ideas, but I think that's what we're going to see now, because apparently Behringer are going to make fucking everything now. So
They're
the
not.
stuff that you will see from manufacturers, should we say, smaller manufacturers, will be really interesting
Niche, yeah.
niche ideas come along.
And new
like,
stuff.
Like that.
It's already happening, that though, isn't
Euro
it?
rack
Yeah.
keyboard you're talking about, stuff like that. Although I mean, most people go, "Well, it's just making it a synthesizer, isn't it?" But when you think about it, it's a clever idea because you can You can change your modules in that, and you make that synth anything you want it to be. It's real clever, real clever. So,
Well,
we wait with bated breath. See what comes out.
Which show were we talking about where a company was doing? Was it a module or a synth that had a built-in radio? Was that
That was
Ramsey's?
on Ramsey's, yeah.
Yeah.
That thing, the guy was in the chat, wasn't he? He was making it. It was a guy in Italy.
Yeah.
And the oscillator is basically a radio. And it's like, what? And you're going, that's really quite interesting, but you'd have to hear what you can do with it and why that.
Well, it was cheap as well, wasn't it? It was only.
Well, back in the
80 quid or
'70s, I can
something,
remember
or 90?
using,
No, I don't think
using
it
a
was.
radio to make sort of like interesting soundscapes on tape and stuff like that. Yeah.
Using shortwave in particular is great, isn't it?
And it's sort of like the next logical step.
Well,
It's
beat
just taken
frequency
40 years for
oscillators.
somebody to get round to doing it. That's all.
The thing is that there are possible copyright implications as well, having a radio.
True.
Just because
Yeah.
certain things are still classed as performance.
Yeah, but I don't think many AM stations broadcast on YouTube at the same time, so you can probably get away with it.
Yeah.
They would, it's only sort of, I don't know what it's like in the States, but all the major UK radio stations seem to have a YouTube channel they stream on at the same time, so they'll be automatically
Have you ever checked
content matching, whereas AM stations probably won't.
No, I mean not necessarily in terms of like actual content matching or anything like that. There's inherent copyrights in things. Bizarrely, did you know that American Preachers is actually classed as performance? Religious preaching is classed as a performance, like music.
You're joking,
wouldn't
so that's
surprise me.
copyrighted.
I mean, it is performance when you think about it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, yeah, when you
Certainly
think
lots
about
of acting.
when you go to the Reverend Rogers paper prayer service, it's all about making a few coins, isn't it? 9 times out of 10. So
Yeah.
why not copyright your own?
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah.
I wonder if that's is it in tune? Still in tune.
Sounds nice.
And maybe all you need to do is just whack it one. So anybody who trouble with their Hydrasynth Deluxe, just hit it. Punch it in the face, it will respond. That's my tech tip for the day. Otherwise, put the boot in, that should do. Are you out there, missus?
Well, in a certain point of history, you could pretty much do that with anything, but not so much anymore. So,
Yeah, I mean, the old tube
Valve
TVs.
TVs.
Give it a good old smack, that'll sort it.
and people too, right? But so
Oh, yeah. Yes, exactly. Was
back
it the
when
service-
I were a kid.
Yeah, the service notes on how to service your asshole. Smack.
Slap.
There you go. Sorted. Yeah, so we got a canopy now. We've done out the back. I've finished that now.
A canopy or a pergola?
Yeah,
a sail?
probably. So he would.
Is it one of these roll-in, roll-out ones?
No. It's just a set thing that goes on the decking.
Yeah.
Yeah, very sort of like there wasn't a lot of thought went into it. It was just like.
So it keeps your space nice and dry when you're trying to give people food poisoning.
Yeah, exactly. And also,
That's good.
it means that the dogs can go out in the rain without getting wet. Because, well, no, that's a waste of time. Because Nellie just loves it when it rains. It's just, she's soaked to the skin. And then when it stops raining, she comes in. She goes, "It's boring. Stop raining now." So we call her a water spaniel because we think there's a bit of water spaniel in her somewhere.
Just going to grab a coffee.
Good man.
Cool.
See a coffee, grab it.
I'm going to grab a duvet and clamber underneath it.
Oh dear.
Not because it's cold in here, or anything, because it's
No,
time
no,
for
no.
me to
It's
disappear.
because it's time for the sack jack.
It is time for the sack. Getting up at The crack of sparrow fart.
Yes.
I won't be on that much longer. I've got a gig to rehearse for.
When you playing?
So-
Where you playing? If it's
In
Colwyn
Derby.
Bay. Oh, in Derby. Oh,
No,
right,
it's
blimey.
in Derby. If you fancy coming down, it's a week on Sunday.
Oh, well, you would say Sunday. So.
It's
Wow,
the
that's
bank
that's
holiday
a lot of
weekend.
rehearsing.
What
That is
time?
a lot of rehearsing.
Is
You've
it
got
in
to
the
get up
evening?
now.
5 p.m. It's basically it's KevFest X because he doesn't know how many he's done yet because of all the lockdowns. But yeah, it's basically a whole day of live music. It's mainly sort of guitar-y stuff. So I'm going to
Right.
probably be
And you're
like stick
playing
out
at
like a sore
5
thumb.
p.m.
Yeah,
Just curious. This is the one that's spelled Derby, right?
that's right. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm a dumb American, so you know.
Yeah, but don't worry. Don't worry. We just like to keep you guessing.
Yeah. Being as you're using the original.
Because there is a
language.
Darby as well, right? Isn't there?
Not that I know of.
No?
There probably is somewhere, but it's not well known.
Hmm.
So yeah, the main one's Derby.
It will have been Derbyshire for most of its life, but somebody in the Victorian period will have decided that sounded
Yeah.
and
Sure.
changed it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's now Derbyshire.
Yeah, as I learned that from Delia. That's when people pronounce her name. So
Delia. Yeah. Sorry. Sorry.
yeah, exactly. Yeah,
But yeah,
accent's on the wrong syllable.
I'll stick the details on my website.
Syllable. Oh yeah, do Jim, let us know, and I'll have a look.
Cool.
Right, I'm going. Tra, I'll see you all at some point soon, I dare say.
All right, dear.
Tra chatties,
Okay.
take care.
Cheers,
folks.
good rest.
Right,
Cheers, Andy.
See you all.
Take care.
Take care of yourself,
See you
man.
again. See
See
you.
you
I'll see you. See you.
Cheers.
Thanks. Tra.
Bye.
Ta-da.
Bye.
Bye-bye. So, go and get some sleep and continue his noble profession of teaching.
Indeed.
Yeah, I almost became a biology teacher, and then I got into IT instead. So
Yeah. It takes a certain amount of commitment to be a teacher.
I'd get in
Seems
trouble
to be
these
harder
days. The way the climate's changed, I'd be put my foot in my mouth constantly. So
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't do teaching. I just corrupt all the kids.
I did used to work in a school, which was good fun, but I used to run a recording studio and video edit suites and stuff. So I got the good bit without any of the bad bit.
All right.
well, the problem with
That's
science
awesome.
teaching is you have political issues to worry about, as well as evolution and a bunch of other stuff that people always want to go
Oh,
crazy
God,
about.
yeah.
So you're
Yeah.
constantly fighting, just doing your job.
Mm.
Yeah, that must be incredibly frustrating.
Oh, it's terrible. I mean, you know,
like-
the Scopes monkey trial, the famous case we had in the U.S. About the teacher trying to teach evolution and the theatrics by the guy in court, who was the local preacher and stuff, and it's still going on in this country. It's still
Yeah.
maniacs
So
everywhere.
you want me to teach lies, do you? Yes. Okay.
Basically, yeah.
Yeah.
And if you want to teach a religion, which book do you want? Because there are a lot of them, and are they all
Yeah.
wrong?
Well, technically, yes.
Exactly, but I mean, you know, from their point of view, each one has the correct book. So
But yeah, I mean, they're all written way after the fact anyway.
well, and they're all off of ancient Greek and ancient Egypt and stuff like
Yeah.
that. Anyway, so it's all stories retold, repackaged.
Yeah, and even the original earliest, tellings of these stories were way beyond way after the events supposedly happened anyway.
And that's the other thing too. And you know how oral history works. Oh, that's good stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah,
An interesting concept is historicity,
Yeah.
and sort of euhemerization. So, sort of basically turning human a concept. So, like, say Jesus originally was a concept of the Son of God, and then they, have created a real person out of that character, kind of thing. So,
Well, the big problem is
Yeah.
people are living their lives by things written so long ago when the frame of reference was so different. And now we have all these other frames of reference from life experience and science and just general knowledge, and they still want to go back to those, Bronze Age ideas. It's like, don't you ever want to change your mind and improve yourself?
Yeah.
Whether you believe it or not, you're still left with crazy old
Yeah.
ideas that are way closed off.
Yeah,
I mean-
but religion was just a way of managing people and collecting taxes.
Well, of course, but for the people who are true believers, that's the different thing. So
Yeah, but it's like the whole thing about, Mary and Joseph going to Bethlehem because of the census. At no time, at any point on the planet ever, did you have to go back to your place of birth to register in a census? It just never happened, And they go, but that's what happened in this story. You go, yeah, but it must be true.
Yeah, but you see, when they started publishing these religious texts, they hadn't worked out that there's a concept called Chinese whispers.
Yeah.
And that history is written by the victors.
Yeah.
It's another one. Yeah, so I mean, literally having to stand in front of a load of kids saying, life began with the primordial soup, and God looked on it, and God said it was good. That type of two sides of the same coin type of thing all the time.
No, my celery soup tonight, that was good. Definitely.
I had chicken noodle.
Oh, nice.
was it
In fact, I'm
celeriac
still
or
having
actual
it.
celery?
I am still having it.
It was celery, cream of celery
Celery,
soup.
yeah.
Oh, and I make it every now and again, and that's all I'll eat until it's gone. It's just so good.
I love just raw celery. It's awesome. Just so good.
No.
Come on, man.
No, you're getting
Good for you.
into the realms of fantasy, eating
Oh,
celery.
dip it in hummus
oh,
then. That's good.
God.
Yeah, I like celery and raw carrots and raw
Dip it in
cabbage.
hummus or ranch or something, then you're good to go.
I tell you what, I have been partial to a raw carrot from time to time, I must admit. That is true, but I normally prefer things to be covered in chocolate if possible, at all times. So,
Yeah, chocolate celery would be pretty awful.
yeah. Because you see those chocolate sprouts, didn't they? And it was...
I don't even like the peanut butter celery thing people do. That's weird. So
Oh, do you know what? I used to love eating peanut butter. All the time. But Fiona is so allergic to peanut butter.
Oh
so
yeah.
Just can't have it in the house.
Yeah, I live off peanut butter, but
Yeah. I mean, she'd go into hives if there was a jar of it in the cupboard. That kind of allergic reaction,
yikes.
So she goes, well, if you have peanut butter, you better be in the other room of another house on another continent. Okay. So
I used to work with a girl, her dad was so allergic, he couldn't even go out to eat because he had a wheat allergy, a nut allergy, an allergy to like looking at things basically. He can't get
Yeah.
anything.
She'd show him a photograph and he'd go, oh. Yeah.
Is it just me? But when I was growing up, I don't recall anyone having any allergies to gluten or peanuts or
No, they died.
any of these things. I mean, is this it?
No.
Did they just die before I
No,
got to meet them?
they were either called something different, right?
I think celiac's a fairly recent discovery too. It's not like they knew about
and
it
also
much,
I think
so.
a lot of the allergies may have been brought on from various junk and shit and food additives that we've had over the years. It's permeated into the, into the humans.
I mean,
generally.
we as kids we were basically brought up on peanut butter. You got home from school, first thing you do is 4 slices of toast with peanut butter, and that's before tea.
Yeah. No, I
Oh, it was
didn't.
biscuits for
I didn't
me.
know anybody with a peanut butter allergy at school, for instance, because peanut butter sandwiches were very popular at our school. Don't know why, but they were, and everybody loved them. But I don't know. I put it personally. I think it might be something down to additives and stuff like that. Because I mean, they used to put stuff into the food and go, this will make it last a month. Cool. What does it do to you if you eat it? It's fine. It's just all it matters is it makes that food last a month.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Go with it. What's it do after 40 years? Who cares?
Well, the first sort of food scandal I can remember, I think, was the use of tartrazine for colouring, and that was banned, I think.
Yeah. And what was the thing that was DDT that was spraying the cows with and stuff like that? I mean, they thought, yeah, this is brilliant stuff. Yeah, fantastic. It's great. What could possibly go wrong with DDT?
Well, as
Everything.
long as you don't let it touch your skin or breathe it in, it's
Well,
fine.
it's eggshell thinning. It kills
Yeah.
the birds.
Or that you don't eat the cow that you got sprayed with it.
And then they went to DDE and they had problems with that, and it's just
Yeah. Yeah.
But they didn't they ban, was it glyphosate, weed killers in the UK?
Mate, there's been so many different things banned.
like
where-
Roundup, you mean? That kind of stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah, because you know, long after the fact they've gone. Oh, apparently, you know.
Well, that goes with the whole like the thing about Monsanto controlling a bunch of stuff and causing problems and.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, I can see it both ways. I mean, I knew someone who was a research chemist working for a very large agrochem company, and they were working on neonicotinoids for pest control. And the amount of money that they put into research, where they can do 1 million experiments and only one of them works, and it can take, or it used to take before COVID, of course, it used to take 10 to 15 years to get a product to market. And they would then use patents, etc., so they could recoup the investment they made. But on the other hand, when you've got GM crops and you've got companies like Monsanto basically freezing out any other seed provider in certain parts of the States, that makes me uncomfortable. So whilst, I think, a controlled free market is a good thing, it can also similarly be a very bad thing. But it's like, John Deere having DRM on their tractors,
Yeah, supposedly at one point, I don't know how true this was, but Monsanto grains and stuff that were modified, if it ended up on your land and you didn't pay them whatever royalties were there, you'd get in trouble. I'm like, well, you think spread, idiot. I mean, this is called seed distribution.
Yeah, what do you think
what are you
birds
gonna
do? I mean,
Exactly. So what are you going to do? Going to stop nature. Just
exactly, yeah.
Yeah,
But
no,
the American legal system didn't help the farmers in that.
Well, yeah. Everyone's out for a buck. So with that, all bets are off.
yeah, we've got
I've got to say,
now.
I love the fact that the States has televised court proceedings.
It's hilarious.
I've been watching some of the Amber Heard, Johnny Depp
Hey,
stuff,
there he is.
and it's
We can have that. You can have that
fascinating
instead if
to
you want.
watch. Evening, Rob.
Kept this one quiet.
No, I didn't. It's just that for some reason you don't get notifications.
Yeah. All right.
Well, actually, that's why I did it. I was looking for the the thing you were talking about turning off the made for kids thing.
Oh yeah.
I gave up in the argument.
Oh, that's why I didn't get it, because I'm registered to 13.
13 what?
Milky.
Yeah, I only knew about because I was already looking at something on YouTube and it popped up. So
I've just finished watching that Jimmy Savile doc on Netflix.
You had a shower. You had a shower now?
Oh, do you know, there was that bit where he's interviewing Gary Glitter. I mean, Jesus Christ.
what a combo!
Oh,
Was that
a meeting
hiding
of the
in plain
Titans.
sight or what?
Yeah.
Oh, the stuff that... Oh, I mean, yeah, we all knew he was a fucked up weirdo, but...
Was he mostly a comic or an actor? I don't know that him too.
No,
He was
Jimmy's...
a pervert.
Well, yeah.
Well, that too. But I mean, what was his main?
His
thing?
his
Radio
alleged profession
DJ.
was initially he was a coal miner.
Oh,
Then
wow.
he was a dance hall manager, wrestler. Then he got into radio.
Pirate radio to start
Yeah.
with, and then was
Yeah,
the
and
first BBC, official BBC One, Radio 1 presenter.
Yeah, and then became TV presenter, charity fundraiser, and kiddie fiddler. Actually, no, I say kiddie fiddler. The ages of his victims range from 5 to 75.
Actually, didn't it go
5?
past that? Weren't some of them not actually still living?
Oh yes, they were dead ones as well.
Yeah.
He
Equal
fiddled with
opportunity
dead people
prevert.
as well.
Sorry,
He fiddled with dead people as well.
yes, yeah.
Yes.
Holy mother of God.
Oh,
Dead
I mean,
people,
he was an
mental-
all-round sicko. Yeah.
Yeah. People that were paralysed, through illness of some description. You just
Ideal
ugh.
person to choose to run a child's charity then. wouldn't it?
But yeah, I mean, he was.
The thing
he
is,
had
I remember
the-
watching, and just seeing those kids squirming, trying to get away from him on Jim Will
Yeah.
Fix It. We all
But
knew.
I thought he was a pervert then. I mean, even as a
Yeah.
kid, he was the sort of
Yeah.
person that your parents would say, keep away from him.
It's a shame they couldn't bring back drawing and quartering just once.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
No,
yeah.
they should bring it back anyway.
Well, I'd just go
Just
for
to be safe.
castration, actually, and use a very blunt knife.
It's like, you know, the people that mistreat animals,
Oh yeah,
stuff like that, you know.
no tolerance for
A
that.
fine? Are you kidding? The only fine they should have is a finely sanded fucking baseball bat across the back of the head.
I was pre-vet and I couldn't do it because I had some work experience and it was so depressing. I said, I'll never be able to do this job. I want to strangle the owners
Yeah,
and I'll be crying every day with all the animal abuse.
yeah. And the thing the problem that they have now with the bears, the cubs in cages all over the
Yeah.
place, you know. One cub, they found one bear where he'd been in a cage for 9 years, never been out.
I stayed with a vet in Japan once on a youth exchange,
Yeah.
my first time there. And I was like, hey, that'd be great. I get to see what it's like over there as I'm studying this stuff. He had a lady come in with a Shiba Inu and it had such bad heartworms that its foreleg had such a necrotic region with the bone showing on its leg.
Yeah.
And
What?
dogs have such incredible tolerance for pain. This dog looked pretty mellow, but you know it's killing it, right?
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I think it's time to bring the dog in. It's like, it's going to have his leg cut off.
Yeah.
How did you not notice that?
Yeah. Well, it's like old Noah. He suffers from was it leash melanosis?
Leishmaniasis?
Leishmaniasis.
Leishmaniasis, yeah, with sandfly bite. And we got to keep an eye on his on his blood counts for that, because he's already had he had to have one toe removed on his back leg when we got him, because it tends to go, you know, show up mostly at the extremities, doesn't it, to start with, and then it'll get various blisters and stuff on him. And one of the things that I did some reading up on it. There was very little, especially in this country. There's very little on it, mainly because we don't really get sandflies, do we?
No.
And found that one of the worst things a dog can eat when they suffer from this is peas. And just about every dog food on the shelf is loaded up with bloody peas. So we had to make sure we could get a dog food that didn't have peas in it. It's quite expensive, but it's such a good dog food. I mean,
Is it the sugar content or what's with the peas?
I don't know, but there's something in peas that's particularly
Cheese. Cheesy beans.
cheesy peas. Yeah, there's something in peas that's really bad for dogs. The leash count goes skyward. So I think we started putting him on this food, and his leash count was about 1,200, whatever that means. But it was 1,200, and he goes, and the vet had gone, well, we don't know much about leash, but that seems a bit high, and we need to work on getting that down. So I started giving him this food that has 0 P in it, and the others are on it anyway because it's really, really good food. Then we had him tested. They said bring him back in 6 months. Brought him back in 6 months. His count was 800, and his last blood count showed it to be almost non-existent. Something like about 12, 13. His count was, and he'll never get rid of it. But as long as the count is low, he doesn't have to take because it's the disease isn't the problem. It's the fucking medicine, the anapural. It destroys the kidneys. So you give them that, they'll die from it. They'll die from the medication to keep this count down. So by simply having, where the hell did we go?
Well,
I'm still here.
I'm still
network
here.
outage.
It's just Rob disappeared.
Oh, was it just Rob?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it was. Yeah, so it's the medication that will kill them quicker than the bloody disease. So the trick is to make sure that the leash count stays low, and we've got him really, really low. I just wish we'd got him earlier. We could have probably saved his toe.
Mm.
You know, so. But yeah, so yeah, but you know, you get animals, you got to go that extra mile with them, haven't you? So people who just just mistreat and abandon them.
Well, it's one thing to have. Oh, I didn't know it had this, but to have that much physical evidence of neglect and pathology is disgusting, right?
Yeah.
But people do that to kids as well.
Oh,
But
exactly.
the thing
Yeah,
is, if you can do that to a small, defenseless creature, it's very easy to do that to a child.
Well,
they,
exactly.
They do. If you look into serial killers, etc., and people who
Torturing animals, yeah.
Yeah, one of the factors in trying to prevent them in the first place is if they're involved in torturing small creatures.
Well, they have to practice somewhere, right? Unfortunately.
Keep an eye on them. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but why not just raise it up from a fine, nip it in the bud, take it much further. You know, there he is. The further the better. You know.
User error, Rob.
No, I was trying to do something. I hit a button, and it just all of a sudden and yeah. You'd think I'd know how to use this shit after all this time. Can I just very quickly say, Mickey D. Island, who is in the chat, my friend Mickey from Newry, Northern Ireland. It's his birthday today. He's one step closer to the big 50. So happy birthday, mate! For the umpteenth time that I've said that to him today.
Yeah, happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Mickey.
Yeah,
Happy birthday.
You're catching up to us old folks.
yeah, big 50. I remember that one.
But he's not there yet. He's 1 year off, I think.
Oh, is he? Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's next year. That means I have to
Still
buy
a
him
youngster.
something, I think.
Still a youngster.
Well, like a Zimmer frame or something.
I've got it this year.
What, the 50?
Older whatever, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Don't worry. It's no
It's
different.
painless.
It's no different.
No, it's not.
It's like all the other ones.
So
You just have to eat less cake.
on Monday I decided to have a look at that DX7, and like I haven't got much space to do it in, so I'm just like kneeling and crouching around.
Yeah, welcome
And-
to my world.
Yeah, and I said that the bit off the B flat key had come off. I could hear
Yeah.
something rattling around, so I thought, well, I'll just I'll pick up the synth and go like this, a little bit gently, this. I could hear it, and just to get it down to the front. DX7 is not a light thing, and I'm on my knees. My legs aren't that great anyway, and I'm doing all this, and I'm fine. Oh yeah, this is good. I'm easy. And then the next morning, I wake up and my thighs and my arms and my back. I just
You just found a new workout video, DX7 workout.
I know. Well, you'd think that, and I put myself on the scales, and I'd put weight on.
It's
FM
turning into
plan.
muscle, Rob. That's what it is. It's turning into muscle.
That's it. Yeah. And then I go to the opticians again today because they found something dodgy in my last test. And it looks like I may very well have. I knew this was probably going to happen, but I've inherited my mum's glaucoma, I think. They're not 100% sure yet, but I've got to go to another eye clinic. So they found a little patch of. What did you say? Thin something. I think it's on the nerve. There's a thin area on the nerve, and they said that could be nothing, but it could be glaucoma. So yeah, but other than that, yeah, welcome to 50 odd. It's not a pleasant place.
Well, I get the ocular migraines so often now, I
Yeah.
don't even take any bloody notice of them. Except when I'm driving.
Yeah.
I speed up. Because
Only
it's
get 'em
like,
with lots
hey,
of
this should be
caffeine.
fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, but that's the problem with me. You go, oh, if you stop drinking coffee, you won't get them. I go, no.
What's
no.
this? Stop drinking coffee, you speak
Stop
of.
drinking coffee.
The
Bad enough
worst
I
thing
bought-
is
bought a vape, for God's sake.
if you go to your doctor
good.
like my eldest brother did, and they say, yeah, you need at least one knee replacing, and you're going to need your hips doing, but you're too young. And he's like,
You know why
okay,
they say
so
that?
so my
My dad
body's
had his knees
fucked.
replaced. They only work for like 20 years. So
Yeah.
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 So just here are some happy pills. Keep taking those and pretend it doesn't exist. The fact you can't walk, not a problem.
Yeah,
I'm
well,
already
my
on
mum
the
was
happy
being-
pills.
my mum was being given tablets for rheumatoid arthritis, since she was 31.
Oh.
And it was at the age, the delicious age of 78 when she was diagnosed as not having rheumatoid arthritis. Never did, and it was the tablets that were fucking up her joints.
Jeez.
Yeah, knee replacement, serious business. My friend, unfortunately, who's 85, just died from infection after having it done.
Oh wow.
But my dad had a double, and he made it through okay. So
Yeah, one of my managers at work, bless him, he's ex-Marine, and he had a heart condition. And we used to sort of exchange stories, and but he was a little bit older than us, but lovely. He was Ecuadorian by birth, and then went to the US, became a US Marine, served, then started working in the security industry, and he said, I've got to take some time off. I'm getting an operation that should hopefully sort this heart thing out. And we're like, oh, great, excellent, good luck. Take some time. See you when you get back. And the operation went well. And then he had a massive heart attack, survived it, had another operation, came out of that. Doctors were saying, yeah, brilliant. Next day, he was dead. It was just like, wow. You know. But and he, yeah, I mean, by today's standards, he was no age. But yeah, scary stuff.
Well, I mean, you know, when I die, as long as I die very quickly, it doesn't matter. What
you got to do the DX7 workout. You won't die.
Lingering death.
For the workout.
Yeah, do the DX7 workout, but do it with a CS80. You'd be gone in minutes, mate.
Yeah.
Especially if you slip and it falls on you.
Yeah.
Well, it's like when I went to pick up my Kurzweil 2600, and the guy literally lived on the 4th floor.
Oh wow!
And I said, you know, when I bought it, I said, oh, you know, can we arrange for it to be shipped? I didn't know how heavy it was, and he said, no, mate, I don't think I can do that. Oh, okay, I'll come and pick it up. And he gave me the address and said 4th floor, and I'm thinking, you know, maybe it's like a DX7. You know, it's heavy, but it's manageable. And I got up to the 4th floor. You know, I'm out of breath by the time I get to his bloody door anyway. And he says, there it is, and you know, it's on his rack. And I said, you going to give me a hand? And he said, no, it's yours. You bought it. He said, I'm not moving that bloody thing again. So I thought, okay, you know, it's quite big. So I picked it up, and fuck me, it's heavy.
Yeah.
And actually, it's not so much that it's heavy, which it is, but it's the size of it.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have any bloody grab handles anywhere.
No.
And I had to carry this thing down 4 flights of stairs and then get it into the back of the car. And I've got a Zafira, so you know you could drop all the seats, and it still had to move the front seat forward and collapse the back down to get the bloody thing in.
Yeah. Yeah, because I mean,
You didn't have it sticking out the bag with the red flag on it? You know, that,
No, I managed to get the boot closed, but it is surprisingly big. It's like a DX, it's like a CS80. You know, you look at it and you think, oh, it's not too bad. And then you measure it from front to back, and you go, it's quite big. This
it's worse than a CS80 because I've had shipping companies where I've given dimensions and weight of I think it was a 2500, and they went, nah. No, we ain't collecting that. Whereas the
you
80,
need a packing crate for it.
Yeah. Whereas fortunately the CS80 comes in its own box.
Yes.
And it's actually quite easy to transport because of it.
I sent an Elka double manual X605, I think it was, with the pedal board, which is
I got one in the garage. Yeah.
Yeah, and I picked this up on, I can't remember where I got it from, and took it home, and it wasn't. It was okay. It just didn't have the legs, so it had to sit on the floor. And then you can't try and play foot pedals. No, it wasn't working. It was just too big. So I decided to sell it, and I sold it on eBay for £99 to a customer in Italy, a collector of Italian organs. and
Indeed.
it cost them about 250 quid to ship because it was so big. But like you said, like the CS80, it came in its, it comes in its own built-in case.
It's quite a robust case. As
Yeah,
well, isn't
so
it?
all I had to do is just brown paper wrap it and tape it, and off it went. And just found a box for the pedals. So.
It's quite a nice little organ, actually.
Yeah, it was an interesting thing. But so I just, if I'd been able to put it on, if I had found the legs for it somewhere, then I might have set it up in the front room or something. But it's a pretty thing as well. It's stylish. It's that old style to it. But
I'd still like to get a hold of a Yamaha D85. Because if I'm going to have a triple manual organ, I want one that sounds like a CS80.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I love some of that.
So I learned a trick watching guys move heavy furniture. I never bought them, but they have those cool straps you can buy that go on your shoulders, and you can use basically your legs to carry most of the burden.
Yeah.
And it's a good idea. I need to get some of those.
Well, beware. I got them, and we tried seeing if we could, transfer a CS80 out of the
Well, if you have
house.
bad knees, it still doesn't help, right? So
I tell you what, oh my God, yeah, it's bad news because it seems to be that when you have something heavy, you have to then stand very, very close to it to get the benefit.
Yeah.
And because you're standing so close to it, you have to shuffle.
right.
And if you try shuffling, carrying it takes you for fucking ever to get up onto the road and get it into the car.
And you get
By the
that
time you've
pendulum
done
effect
that,
too, right? There's a
literally,
swing.
you could have picked the bugger up over your head and walked out there. It would have been quicker, and you would have used less energy.
Well, I mean,
And then you slip and drop it on your foot. Love that one because it doesn't land on your toes; it lands on that sloping part of your foot and goes down it, and it's like, oh my God.
Well, I've got an aluminium collapsing wheel trolley, which is handy for shifting stuff around.
Yeah,
And but it's useless on stairs.
yeah. Have you ever seen those stair ones? The ones with the 3 wheels. So it goes
Yeah,
up the
they're
stairs.
expensive though. Yeah.
No. Do you know what? They're nearly exactly the same price as the standard 2-wheel trolley that I got. They've come down quite considerably.
Mine's a 4-wheel aluminium extending and collapsing trolley.
Yeah, I must admit the stair ones look good. I thought, yeah, do you know what? But then I found that I didn't really encountered enough. We had techniques because with the normal trolley, you tip it, you put it over, you push down on it, you get it over, and it's not really a big problem. So, but
Yeah, I was redoing my studio the other day, and I had an old TV cabinet in there. This big, heavy wooden, like almost antique kind of thing.
yeah,
And the only way to get it out was to lift it up, put it on my shoulder, and take it out. Because if I had to hold it in front of me, I would have thrown my back out.
yeah,
And it actually worked pretty well.
yeah.
But it helps if you're a brute too. I'm kind of a brute, so that.
Because there's a video somewhere. Because once you get used to moving certain things, like I really know how to move 80s around, and you get to know where their balance points are. And there is a video of me somewhere holding a CS80 with my finger on one corner and spinning it without any problems at all. And once you know where those balance points are, the only trouble is you have to move about 500 CS80s before you know where the balance points are. And of course you've got a lot of broken toes in the meantime.
Broken CS80s.
Yeah. But the thing that always does my head in is when I get a delivery of a CS80, a private delivery, and the guy and his friend and his other friend for moral support get it out of the back of the car, and it's on casters, and they wheel it along the road and then up onto the path and wheel it up to the door. And I'm like, oh God, because I'm gonna have to take the wheels off and hide them. Because if you want to detune a CS80, roll it on its casters, man. That's sort of forever.
Jiggles it around a bit.
Yeah.
God, does it? And if there's any old dodgy soldering joints in it anywhere,
Does it have voice cards?
yeah.
So they might pop out too, right?
No, they're all bolted in because even the rails that the cards are bolted to are powered. So you have like the 15-volt rail, which goes through the connector, even though there are 15-volt wires running to the card. It's just
Wow.
this sort of thing. Well, if the wires break, the card won't stop working. Kind of thing.
You need to get hold of 4 Flymos and put some rubber skirts on them.
Yeah, make a hovercraft for it.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I think if we did the maths, I think we might find we need a hovercraft the size of Brighton to lift it. That's the problem. Actually, I'm not even sure the hovercraft at Hove would work.
Like the old SRN-1 that used to do the channel.
If you had a nice cart though with pneumatic tires, it'd be okay, right? It'd be pretty soft.
Yeah, well, the trolley I got has got lovely pneumatic tyres, and I made the mistake of thinking if I have low pressure in it, it'll absorb a lot of the the vibrations. But it actually
Dyson
turns
ball
out
barrow.
you can't move the thing. It's like
Oh, right.
so you have to pump them
Do-
up
do-
quite hard.
Dyson ball barrow. Steal that idea.
Yeah, we don't want to lose the balance with it when you're moving it, though, do you?
You know, it's crazy. Speaking of balance and bearing, there's a thing called the Kuiper Airborne Observatory my friends have worked on at NASA, and it actually has an air bearing, and they're actually flying up in a high sky, and using a telescope to capture data through the top of the thing. But it has an air bearing, so no matter what turbulence you get, there's no shake on the scope, and this is like arc second precision on the scope. So it's crazy.
Wow.
Fantastic.
Yeah. See, that was something I always wanted since I was a very, very, very small squib. I always wanted a telescope, and used to dream about owning, say, like a 6-inch, reflector one or something like that. And by the time I was old enough and had enough money to buy one, the light pollution around here is fucking stupid.
Well, we have Lick Observatory here. It's a famous local observatory, and it's had light pollution from San Jose forever, unfortunately. So.
Yeah. So now, of course, there's this trend in Surrey of having little sparkly LEDs in your garden on all night
Oh,
as
God,
well.
yeah.
It looks like Vegas out the back sometimes.
Yeah, I love telescopes. I need to get a good camera for mine so I could do some telescope podcasts. It'd be fun.
Yeah.
Have you done any more of your microscopy?
Oh man, it's such a sore subject. I have hours of footage, but I haven't any goddamn time to edit it. But I have some doozies I'm sitting on. I used to work at a children's zoo, and some of the stuff that was on the demo thing.
I thought you were
is
going to
part
say
of
some
it.
of the stuff that was on the kids.
Yeah, no. Some of the stuff was on my little demo
kids
video.
on display.
Yeah, this one slide in particular is probably the best slide I've ever made, period. And it was from the flamingo pool at the zoo there in the catch area, the filter. And I've found so many critters on there. Probably half of them I know what they are. The other half I'm still trying to figure out what they are. But it's literally one of the best slides I ever made. I have hours of footage from that thing. I still need to edit. So,
There's a
I'll get it up soon.
possibility, that you're going to find some little organism that is as yet undiscovered.
no, it's pretty well studied.
Oh, I don't know. I mean, there was one that they found one only a couple of years ago, didn't they? They're always finding something somewhere.
I mean, they're still finding certain insects and spiders for sure, because the biome is so intense. But yeah, microscopic stuff's been studied really, really well for a long time. So it's pretty hard, except for maybe some really bizarre, obscure thing somewhere. You might find different species of bacteria, maybe.
Yeah.
But
I suppose
Yeah,
you've got to go to sort of like distant, go to the Arctic and start digging in the ice and stuff and find weird stuff. That's
yeah, and I got
that's
some
yet
stuff from the
unknown.
salt marsh. So I got these really cool
Yeah.
bacteria. I have some shots of those too. I gotta make a video for that. These little things called spirilla. That these little looks like little twist ties twisted in a helix, spinning around, and some are sulfur bacteria and some other things. But really interesting, guys.
Nice.
It's a trip.
Yeah.
Nature is crazy.
Oh yeah, that's true enough. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now we bought,
It's
we
good to
bought
give you
some
nightmares,
herbs. I
though.
tell you what, we bought some herbs for the. Well, sorry, Fiona's bought some herbs for the garden. We get rid of all the garden. What she do? She goes out and buys more garden. and brings it in. She goes, "Oh no,
But
we'll
it'll
have
be in
plant pots."
pots. They'll be in pots.
So she's got them in pots, right? So she's got some nice, tasty herbs and stuff that she wants to use when she's doing her home cooking and everything like that. And the husky loves them. There's just twigs sticking out now. He's eating most of these herbs. Little kids.
Was that phenomenon like the grass where he makes himself throw up? Is he doing that?
No, but Siri loves doing that.
Yeah.
It's a pastime for her to find some grass, go,
Yeah.
oh God, I feel ill, then come in and go, clean that up, will you? Thanks, Siri. You couldn't do that outside. No. Don't
Well,
wanna
that's their
mess up
version
the-
of the cat. Instead of bringing you a dead animal, they bring you some vomit. So
And cats, when they throw up, always back away from it. I mean, I can understand why, because I do the
wouldn't you?
same. But
It's funny when the cat backs away. So do I. No, you clean it up. Actually, wait for one of the dogs to turn up. They'll sort it out for you.
oh god,
They do. They do.
Yeah.
One of our dogs always used to clean up cats.
we had a husky shepherd mix when I was in Colorado as a kid, and it would crawl through the barbed wire fence to get to the bison cow patties.
Oh,
The neighbor had bison, and so there's like treats, all kinds of
Yeah.
treats over there.
yeah.
What's the difference between a buffalo and a bison?
A bison, so water buffalo is more like a buffalo, and American buffalo is technically a bison. It's the
I
it's related
just
to
thought it was you
deer.
couldn't wash your hands in a buffalo.
Do you know what? I was waiting for it.
hang on.
I should have known that was a sad. Exactly. The sad,
Sorry.
the sad trombone.
He's here all week. Try
I'll
the
be here all
fish.
Try it.
Yeah.
That's one of my favorite sounds of all time. The sad trombone. That's great.
Yeah, can't.
Yeah. Oh man.
Sorry, as soon as somebody mentioned bison, I was like, oh, I can use that one.
Yeah, I couldn't remember the punchline. I'm there going,
Neither.
what's the punchline to this one? Damn it to hell, I can't remember. Oh, we watched, what did we watch today? She put on a film. She goes, oh, do you want to fancy watching a film? I went, "Oh, go on then. So we put it on, and it was it the Good Time Murders?
Ring a bell.
The adult Muppet film where he's a private eye.
no,
I'm not
never heard
familiar
of
with
that.
that.
You've never heard of it?
Nope.
What- He ends up he bangs this puppet in his office, and he just spray. It looks like he's spraying squirty string all over the place. He goes, oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god! Like,
Was this on Pornhub or?
no. It was on. I think it was on ITV. Yeah, I think it's called the Good Time Murders or something like that. And it's Muppets, but it's like gritty.
What, actual Muppets or just puppets?
No, the Muppets.
Actual Jim Henson work.
Sounds like Meet
as
the
in
Feebles,
Henson. It's
The
part of Henson.
Peter
the
Jackson
happy
thing.
the Happy Time Murders.
Happy Time Murders. There you go.
2018. It's Brian Henson.
Yeah, lots and lots of swearing, sexual imagery, like an octopus milking a cow in a sex shop. Give it all this. Yeah, it was hilarious.
Hang on. Adds to watch list.
Yeah. They got like with the rabbit drops his. Who's in the sex shop drops his dildo as he runs out because he's recognised, and they go, "Hey, you forgot your carrot." No, it was hilarious. It was really good film.
Yeah, I might have to watch that actually.
Yeah, it's filth.
You've
It-
seen
it-
Meet the Feebles, right? That's another one that has some of that stuff in it.
Yeah, it's kind of like, well, it goes much further than say, Family Guy would take something. More like how
go pretty
South
far.
Park. If you gave the Muppets to South Park,
Right.
go
yeah.
run with that, do something with that. This is what you'd get.
Have you ever seen any of the South Park guys' live action stuff? Like Cannibal the Musical or
Yeah,
Gazmo?
good. Yeah, it's good stuff.
Remember
And
Gazmo?
the best one's Basketball because that's when they teamed up with
Yeah.
the airplane guys.
Yeah.
You imagine, the airplane sort of that really obvious, like humour, and then the South Park guys. It's a great film.
Yeah. Well, I remember watching back in many moons ago, watching Slapshot and going, "What a great film! What a great film! I want to watch that again." And then realise there's only about 10 minutes of it that's really brilliant that you want to watch.
Well,
This
it's
is
like
two
watching
brothers, right? The hockey brothers.
The three brothers, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, three brothers.
Just beating the shit out of him.
It's like watching
And the
Animal
organist
House.
getting the hockey puck in the back of the head. It's all that. And then you go, the rest of the film's like, meh.
Yeah, re-watching Animal House is a bit disappointing these days, but it was absolutely fantastic when it first came out.
Mm.
It's
Yeah,
just,
mind you, we watched Holy Grail
Still great.
Saturday. Still,
yeah.
even though it's
Well, I
very
mean, Life of Brian is
grainy.
still probably the pinnacle, isn't it? Of any
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah,
I
it's
like
gotta
the
be,
meaning
innit?
of the meaning of life was good as well. I like that.
Yeah.
It was, but there's
was-
more iconic moments, I think, in Life of Brian simply because of what Life of Brian is like. You know.
I mean, the more you watch it, it's like the more you just understand how incredibly clever it was at doing what it did. It was poking fun at something without actually poking fun at the thing that they were poking fun at. It's
Well,
they were
that
very clever.
debate with John
God.
Cleese and the
Malcolm
Bishop.
Muggeridge.
Oh, that was crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, sticking them.
The ironic thing is that Malcolm Muggeridge, before he converted and was a born again Christian or whatever, was the most drunken, womanizing, foul, awful man.
Yeah,
that
but where do you
could
go
ever
from
have met.
there?
Exactly. And then
You can only go up.
Redemption. Yes.
Yeah, well, it's
Yeah.
like Fiona said. She goes, no, it takes British comedians to take something like that and run with it, and don't worry about being offensive or anything. And I went, springtime for Hitler and Germany.
Yeah.
Da, 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 da. Yeah, exactly. Mel Brooks, mate.
yeah.
Yeah, he's underappreciated.
Oh, massive.
Well,
massively.
what was the Blazing Saddles?
Yeah.
Was
No, goddammit, the
pretty
sheriff
brutal
is
at times.
ding.
Yeah, they couldn't make that movie today. No way.
No,
Oh, but
definitely not.
they should. They should make a movie like that. For
Yes.
the hell of it.
Yeah, just being outrageous and funny at the same time, but
Yeah,
deliberately outrageous,
it's like
not
that
Joe
meme.
Rogan, Josh
There was a meme on
Rogan
Facebook
or
where it
whatever
had
bullshit that he produces.
the letters of the keys written on the keys, and they were all exactly one out. so the B was a C and everything. It goes. You should respect other people's opinions, and then it had this picture underneath with all the. And it goes, other people's opinions. It's all right, yeah. I mean, it's fine to be inclusive and blah blah blah, but fucking hell, stop being offended at shit. It's not worth it. Christ Almighty, really. Yeah. It's, you get offended because of words. Hey,
Well, George Carlin
You're not
basically
ready for
made
the world.
most of his career in that. So
Yeah, George Carlin was fantastic.
yeah.
What a legend.
Brutal.
The 7 words
then-
you can't say on television.
So he said
That is that is one of the most incredible stand-up bits ever. That whole 7 words you can't say on TV.
Yes.
But I thought the irony of the life of Brian, and the outrage from the religious circles, and they completely missed the point that it specifically was not about Jesus.
Yeah. Well, it was, but it wasn't.
Yeah,
It was
Yeah, it
poking fun at all of that stuff.
well, that was great. Yeah, they showed the Sermon on the Mount, and then they pan
yeah.
away from it.
Jesus is Jesus is over. You know, yeah. It's just you called it Big Nose.
Because remember, one of the documentaries, they were saying that when they went to America, they were expecting problems, and they said the biggest problem that they met when it was aired in New York, and they went to the premiere in New York, and they said there was a bunch of Jewish guys out the front who were really pissed off that during the stoning scene, the guy was wearing the wrong headgear. He was wearing something that belongs to a different kind of religious representative, and they were pissed off about that. Yeah. So
Yeah, because that's why you go to a movie like that, for accuracy, right?
Obviously.
yes, right, exactly. So, but there again, if you were going to get historic accuracy, that's probably where you would find a lot of it, actually. Because I think at some point there must have been a Roman soldier searching a building, come out going, "We found his spoon, sir. Good work."
I like the crack Suicide Squad. That was great.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Yeah, you got to love it, haven't you?
Well, I watched the James Bond film again last night.
Which one? The new
Can
one?
you narrow that down?
The Time to Die or whatever. it
Oh,
is.
right. Yeah.
And it was actually better watching it at home on TV rather than at the cinema. But I still thought it was a really crappy ending.
Oh, Fiona
Can we
cried.
talk about the ending yet? Is it too soon yet?
Well, I think
I've
as
never
it's
seen
out-
anybody
it's-
really talking about it.
Well, it's out on Amazon now, so I think.
Yeah, I've got the
you know,
DVD,
I think we can
Blu-ray.
safely,
Yeah.
we can safely talk about it. But
I think
I-
Spoiler alert. Spoiler alert.
I mean, I remember I saw it on, when it came out of the cinema on the first night, and the whole, all four of us were, even the kids who aren't really Bond fans, they really enjoyed it. But I just remember, at that moment, everyone was like, I sort of looked around and people just like, it was that typical kind of like popcorn halfway to mouth sort of thing. And
Yeah.
but I thought, what an incredibly clever way of doing it, because nobody really expected it, and
Yeah.
but you'd think if they're killing him off, that would be the end of the franchise.
no, because James Bond has changed actor how many times? I
Yeah,
mean,
well,
you can
yes.
do anything you want with the film franchise.
Didn't he say he was tired of doing it anyway? So it's kind of.
Oh yeah, he was. Yeah, he-
But it
he-
draws
he
a
wants
nice
it out.
line under that era, and it also paid some service to the fan theory that James Bond is just a code name that they give to their top agent. And so anybody can be James Bond because, hey, look, all these different actors have been James Bond. They don't look the same or don't act the same. So James Bond could be potentially just a code name, not the name of an actual person. But then even when you dig into, like the history, his parents are dead. Well, okay, so that kind of covering track sort of thing. It's not, fully accepted, and certainly the Broccoli's and have never alluded to that. But it will be interesting to see who they pick for the next one.
Yes.
Yes.
Well,
There are some.
Yeah,
Oh.
if they want to go bold and go different, fine. I mean, there was talk about having a woman. I mean, well, that could work.
Yeah,
There's
but
no
they
reason why it
could
can't
end
work.
up killing it like they did with Doctor Who, though.
I
Well,
like.
no, all they need to do is go for a woman actor and keep the woke shit out of it.
Well, no, listen. Why not? Okay, see, the modern trend nowadays is to build franchises with multiple,
Oh God, I hope they
streams of
don't do
different
that
things.
either. Yeah.
So you, but no, I mean they don't have to go massive on it. But there's already talk of a James Bond TV, series of whether it's of James Bond, whether it's just in the universe, so to speak.
They could call
But-
it the Saint. Yes.
Well, you could do. But Lashana Lynch, who plays 007 in that film, why not just give? Because she was brilliant. The character was fantastic. The actress who played her was absolutely brilliant. So why not create a new story within the universe of Bond and have Lashana Lynch as your star hero? Because she could absolutely do that. She was really, really good. I was really impressed with her, and I thought, why not give her, and just call it something else? Don't have to call it anything that's too familiar. Just
Well,
create
it could
something
totally
new.
work. Did you ever play the game No One Lives Forever? That was awesome.
No one. Oh yes, I remember
Yes,
that on
I remember.
PS2. Yeah,
Yeah,
Brilliant,
it was
brilliantly
great.
written.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
But what? Leave James Bond. He's a traditional, established character. Leave that as it is. There's no need to mess with that. There's no need to mess with any of it. Create a new character that stands on their own.
Well, the MCU
That can
does
stand.
it.
Yeah, they can. I mean, Black Panther. I mean, one of the the biggest movies of the franchise and probably one of the best movies of the franchise. And you create your own character, and then you can do what you want with that and everyone has their favourite if they want the favourite. They love them all, but just do that rather than mess with something that's. I mean, I also I accept that a lot of people would say, well, why not have an African American or a black individual play James Bond.
Idris Elba.
I don't think Idris Elba would be that good as a. I love Idris Elba, but I just don't think he would.
Well, he was able to play a Norwegian in Thor.
Yeah, quite.
Well, he has that cop series that was good.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, Luther was
Luther's
brilliant. It's spot on,
But
and
we
he's
know-
absolutely perfect for that role.
Well, they're going to look at either somebody like Carl Urban, or they're going to look at somebody like Tom Hardy, if they're going to go the traditional route again.
Tom Hardy would literally need to slim down because James Bond isn't
Well, he
physical.
would, wouldn't he? He'd do it.
He's
I mean,
not a physical man. He's a his muscle is James Bond muscles between his legs.
his Brosnan wasn't exactly meaty.
No, none of them have been.
No, not really.
Connery was tall and
Yeah.
but he wasn't massive. So I'm not doubting that Tom Hardy could carry it off, but the other one they're talking about is that Richard Madden,
Isn't
because
Tom Hardy pretty short though? Isn't he?
I don't know. I've
They
never.
get away with that. I mean, they use Tom Cruise, don't
That's
they?
true. They make Tom Cruise look big.
Yeah. Yeah.
But Richard
Stallone.
Madden,
The milk crate on wheels.
yeah, Richard
Stallone's
Madden's another
tiny
one
too.
because he's Scottish, and obviously Bond has a Scottish heritage. That would be an interesting one.
You know what's funny
I
about
think
the
that-
name James Bond? I had heard stories for years about it, and then when I went to Jamaica, I bought the Field Guide to the Birds of West Indies by James Bond. So he was actually a fan of birds and obviously the West Indies when he was writing those.
Well, yeah,
things.
because his
It wouldn't
estate
be.
was Goldeneye, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Yes.
and his character came from that book, James
Yeah.
Bond, Birds of the West Indies.
Yeah, there you go. No, it's that'll be interesting. I hope they do what they did with Daniel Craig, because I remember when they cast Daniel Craig, I was like, "What? Him?" And he then literally turned out for me anyway and proved me completely wrong. And
That was weird.
in my humble opinion, the best Bond ever.
It was the same reaction to every single replacement. Every single replacement. So when
Well,
they went from Sean to Roger Moore, they went, Roger Moore? No, he's the same. And then when they went from Roger Moore to, was it? Oh, well,
Dalton.
there was also, what's his face? The
George
Australian-
Lazenby.
Lazenby.
George Lazenby.
I thought
Yeah,
Dalton
he
was a
already did
good
one.
Bond.
Dalton was a great Bond.
Dalton was
I
good,
thought
but
Lazenby wasn't bad,
Lazenby was very good. I wish
Lazenby
they'd
couldn't
given him
act.
more.
but
He
also
actually
David,
lied. He actually
David
lied,
Niven
didn't he?
did
He said he was an actor.
Casino
but he
Royale,
wasn't.
didn't he?
Yeah,
I used to play
But that
football
wasn't
with
a Broccoli
Timothy
film.
Dalton's brother.
really.
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
I like Dalton.
They
The two
grew up in Blackbrook in
Dalton Bond
Derbyshire.
films.
I think that
are
the
quite good.
Dalton, what it was the films themselves. They were a little bit too.
Crap.
Yeah, they were a bit.
They can
grim.
only get
Well,
do
they made
what
a
can
like
with
a drug dealer. That's not a big villain, right? I mean,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's
You
not.
want
As
the big
remember
crazy
Pablo
villain.
Escobar.
Yeah,
well, you want the
When-
villains
when-
taking over the world stuff, you know.
and then when they did Bronson, it was Charles Bronson.
Charles Bronson.
Pierce
Pierce
Bronson.
I must have missed that one.
Yeah, he would have been good.
I thought Bronson
I'm-
wasn't bad actually.
Bronson was great. The
Pierce-
mechanic is awesome.
Yeah, Pierce.
He
He was pretty good.
yeah, but
But
towards the end
initially
he
it
got
was
really
like, Pierce
cheesy.
Bronson, no.
I remember a few years ago I got the box set of all of them, and we sat down like almost every night and just went through them from beginning to end. And it's funny that like all the ones that I thought weren't that good, which tended to be the earlier ones, I actually thought, well, do you know, actually these are rather good. I mean, on Her Majesty's Secret Service, still, you know, the Lazenby one is really good.
There's
It was
lots of
only the
different-
speeded up car scenes that let those early
Yeah,
films
but
down.
you kind of you allowed because you know
We
you
allowed that
think
because
that-
all the films were doing it. Weren't
yeah,
They?
but when it got to like the 90s, even like Roger Moore's my James Bond, he was the first James Bond that I ever encountered, and so he was the epitome of James Bond. And then
But there
Dalton.
there was more of a sense of humour in the Roger Moore
yeah, and I
films.
think that appealed to the younger me. And then when it went to Dalton and then Brosnan, I wasn't really bothered. but it
I
was
like more growing up, but he was cast too old, right? I mean, he was just too old for that role.
who more?
Yeah.
Yes, yeah, he was, yeah. But Daniel Craig was, for me, was just unbelievably good.
So that'd be
We
mine.
had those parkour skills,
Bond.
right?
Yeah. No,
But the whole, I mean, it wasn't
it's
just
Colin Buttersweet.
yeah, it wasn't just Craig as Bond. I mean, that clearly was a good thing, but it was also the fact that they got in good directors like Sam Mendes. They got good story writers in there. That they just literally they did the classic reboot, and it was. I think somebody just said Christian Bale. I wouldn't mind seeing Christian Bale as a James Bond because he could bring something kind of dark to it. And I think Bond needs to be dark.
Does now.
Yeah.
Mind you could get Idris Elba.
Well, yeah.
Wow.
Well, look, like I said, if he can play a Norwegian. With
Well, whatever
with
happens,
punch.
we've got no say on it. And
Well,
No,
look
it
at all
won't
the
happen.
former actors playing Asians like Marlon Brando and Ricardo Montalban, and just the worst makeup possible, the worst accent. It was.
or Steven Seagal. Yeah.
It's like, what was it? Fiona was watching this afternoon. She was watching Blackbeard,
Right.
which is an RKO picture from 19 blah blah, and it was Robert Newton playing Blackbeard, right? But what he was actually doing was just playing Long John Silver.
Mm.
The voice, and even the and all that, the whole thing. But Blackbeard wasn't like that. That's Long John Silver. That's the character you made up for Long John Silver, man.
Did you guys see Black Sails? That was interesting.
Black Sailor, that rings a bell.
It was a pirate series out here.
Yes, that's it.
And they actually showed what keel hauling was, and it was really brutal.
Oh yeah. Well, you've
Because
got to get
the
the
barnacles
barnacles
scrape
off
your skin
somehow.
off.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
man, it was fucking brutal.
It was like being sandpapered.
Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't just the
So
whole,
Long John Silver basically gets keel hauled and gets all messed up.
Yeah. So, but there again, that's all been blown out of the water now by the old Pirates of the Caribbean franchise.
Which I hated. I've got to say, I just
Really?
didn't do it for me.
I think the first two were cool, but it started to lose steam and go a bit weird after that, to be honest. But
There's only so much you can do, isn't there?
Yeah, but it paid for Hans's loft conversion, so
Yeah. It's one of those franchises that if you're flicking through the channels and one of those films is on, it takes you some while without looking at the TV guide to figure out exactly which one it is because they're all pretty much the same. You know, it's a little too samey for me.
yeah.
But, all right, yeah. My missus
Fine.
likes it because she likes Johnny Depp. So.
It's funny, I just remembered a bit from that bloody puppet film this afternoon. You know what they do to you in prison, don't you? They take your stuffing out and they fill you with rice, and then they fuck you. Oh, do you know what? I'm gonna have to watch that again.
I'm gonna have to watch.
in-
I'm gonna have to watch it.
I mean, in prison, that's called a fifi. So just so you know.
Yeah.
God.
It's quite funny though because like with this sleazy looking sort of like pelican who runs the sex shop, and the bloke blows his head off, and it's just fluff goes everywhere. The bloke walks back in, it's just fluff everywhere. You go, oh my god, look away, look away.
So they're actually using Muppet puppets. Then it's
Yeah.
not CGI. It's not animation.
No, it's Muppet puppets. And so
Okay.
the guys are greened out and all the business, and
Yeah.
it's
I
very
mean, Team America World Police had that scene that they had to cut down, right?
yeah. Well, that's the
I'm Rory.
I couldn't watch Thunderbirds for a couple of years after that.
That's the version he wanted to make back then, right?
Yeah. Oh man.
Oh, dear.
Aqua Maria.
Oh yes.
Oh God.
Lady Penelope.
Yeah, but I think it was some big wig at one of the big American TV stations when they brought over. It was Thunderbirds. They brought over Thunderbirds, and I think it was Captain Scarlet as well. and they wouldn't believe that it wasn't an American TV show.
Yeah. The Captain
it came-
Scarlet and the Mysterons.
And the Mr. Yeah,
That was my favorite one, the Captain Scarlet. Yeah.
Yeah. Captain Scarlet.
When I first got my set of NHS glasses, my mum used to say I looked like Joe 90.
Joe 90.
Joe
Oh,
90.
there you go. Now there's a replacement for Bond.
Oh, the Happy Time Murderers. Sorry, I was just looking it up. It's that one with Melissa McCarthy, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, because it's not officially. I hate to use the word. It's not officially Muppet canon.
And it's got Cameron Diaz and Katherine
No.
Heigl.
And it's
Right.
produced by
Oh,
STX
no,
Films.
sorry, they were approached to star, but didn't.
I'm trying to remember how many sex scenes there normally were in Muppet movies.
Yeah.
Not
Hence
many.
why it's not
Kermit and
canon.
Miss Piggy, I mean, you know.
Yeah, that
Yeah, but he didn't
Yeah.
get crazy string exploding.
I
all over the
like
place.
one of the production companies is Henson Alternative.
Yeah.
Henson Alternative.
Hented.
But on that note, I'm going to have to duck out and actually go and do some music.
Ah.
You know that thing that some of us do occasionally.
No.
Oh,
Yeah.
you're crazy,
I'm not,
man.
Yeah.
not really
What are you
familiar with
thinking? Well, get out of
You're
here,
on the wrong
weirdo.
channel for that.
that. You strange person. You're supposed to just talk about it. That's all.
I know.
Just get a puppet involved somehow. You're good to go.
This is the
There's-
music
there's a thought.
technology procrastination show.
Yeah, no, I've got this gig coming up, so I've got to get on with it.
Okay.
Otherwise, I'm going to fall on my ass.
Well, cheers, Jim.
Oh, okay.
No worries. Cheers,
see
cheers,
you.
guys.
Bye,
Take care.
Jim.
Speak
Bye.
soon. Bye.
Bye.
Oh, selves. Ta-da. Yeah. Oh man. Yes. No, they'll come up with something. Some Bond replacement will be all right with it eventually. After the hoorah in the papers.
It's really not the most important thing in the world, but I do like a bit of Bond, and I just hope they get it right. And even if I might not like it this time, first time round, I think I will. I mean, as soon as they did the whole introduction, didn't they? That they did that big thing down the Thames and introduced Daniel Craig, and Craig was looking sort of. He had that look on his face, like.
What the fuck am I doing here? Yeah.
Yeah, it's almost like he was too. He was trying to be too cocky about it all. And I didn't really know much about Daniel Craig at the time, and I thought, you look like a twat.
Well, I saw him in Layer
And-
Cake, and he was good in that. It was,
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. But there's just before No Time to Die came out, they brought out a thing on Apple TV. I think it's now available. I think they made it free on YouTube, and it's basically an interview with Barbara Broccoli, her brother. I forget his name now, and Daniel Craig, just the three of them. You never see them on camera. They're just talking, and they just intersperse it with clips of behind the scenes and that kind of stuff. And he talked about that whole moment when he was introduced, and you go, oh right, okay, that makes it, because he was feeling really uncomfortable. He more than anything, he was feeling completely like a fraud. He did not think he was capable of doing it, and he thought they'd made the wrong choice, but he wanted to go for it, but he thought he'd made the wrong choice, and so it was just kind of like a defense mechanism, really, more than anything. And he's grown as a person, obviously, in these last however many years it's been. And now I can sit and I've seen him interviewed, certainly when he was doing the rounds for the film. I can sit and listen to him all day. He's a very clever, very intelligent man, and a really good actor. I mean, if you've not seen Knives Out, go and see Knives Out to see the kind of difference between Bond and him doing something else. And there was the other one, the World War II one he did a few years ago. That
We
was
watched
quite
Knives
good.
Out last week, funnily enough.
Knives Out is great, and they're doing the sequel now, aren't they? So that'll be good. But yeah, I think we'll see a lot more of him now that he's kind of matured, and Bond, he's just made it his own, and it is going to be difficult, even if the person that takes over is as good. It will.
Well,
There's big shoes to fill.
When they were talking about, actually it was quite inspired casting using Daniel Craig, and I'm thinking, yeah, okay, but I think the real inspired casting was using Judi Dench as M.
Yes, very much. Yeah, she was brilliant.
She was
really worked.
she was very good. Yeah.
She was superb. And again, that was quite sad. But then to bring Ray Fiennes in,
Yeah.
another kind of classic British film stroke stage actor. you know, in that sort of role. And I still think also, you know, the casting of what's his name? Q. What's the actor's name?
Oh yes, the youngest chap. Yeah,
Young chap, Ben Whishaw.
Yeah,
Brilliant, absolutely brilliant casting.
yeah.
And Roy Kinnear's son, or was it? Yeah. What's it? Rory Kinnear. Isn't
Rory
it?
Kinnear.
That's it. He's very good as well. I think he's another underrated actor. I've seen him in some stuff that's just like, oh, that's good.
Yeah, but so was his dad.
Yeah. Oh, his dad
Yes.
is brilliant. Yeah.
The funny thing is, before Brosnan got to be Bond, he was in that crazy Taffin movie,
Yeah.
which is a meme. There are a bunch of memes that came out of that movie.
Brosnan's done some really good work. I just don't think James Bond was up there for him. You know, Thomas Crown Affair I thought was very good. I enjoyed that a lot.
We had
I think-
Lawnmower Man, which is hilarious, right?
Yeah,
He looked like he enjoyed it though. He looked like he enjoyed, because those Bonds were more fluffy. weren't
yeah,
they were more.
yeah. They were playing to the Bond, you know,
Yeah.
tropes of
And there were quite good storylines to them and stuff like
yeah.
that.
But they got worse, progressive. I mean, GoldenEye was good, but then when you
Yeah.
get to like Die Another Day, it was horrible. But
Yeah.
what was the film that he was in fairly recently where he played an Irish politician that was, you know, pretty corrupt and involved with the IRA? It was
Yeah.
kind of like a parody of Jerry Adams.
Yeah.
What was that film?
No, I remember watching it.
But that was
and I can't
that
remember.
was it. Yeah, that was good. He was very good, very convincing. in
Yeah,
that.
absolutely.
No, he's done some good stuff. He's done some shit stuff, but
Well, yeah. Yesterday, I was bored out of my brain for various reasons, so I was binge watching all the films on Amazon, and I started watching, basically going through Jason Statham.
Jason Statham, yeah.
there are many.
Going through his back catalogue, and
Yeah, there's
actually, the films aren't intellectually taxing, but they're not bad. But I realised that basically he's just Liam Neeson, isn't he? The character never changes.
Younger.
Yeah,
Liam.
but
Those
the
crazy
ca-
crank movies he was in.
I mean,
it's like
Statham's
the-
made some bloody awful. I mean, in terms of the genre, they're probably good, but you know, but isn't there one he's just done that's got a whole bunch of people in? I think it might even be a Guy Ritchie film. It's kind of a dark comedy, and Statham's in that, and he's billed up there with some really. I'll figure out what that film is, but I haven't seen the film. I've seen the trailer, and the trailer looks incredibly good.
Oh.
For, you know,
The Transporter ones were quite good.
I think I
the
watched
the
one.
Wrath of Man,
Let's have a look here.
2021.
That one Transporter, we had that ridiculous oil fighting scene where they're in oil.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah.
No, Operation Fortune. Ruse de Guerre, and it's got Jason Statham, Aubrey Plaza's in it, Hugh Grant's in it, Eddie Marston's in it, and the trailers look incredibly good. And yeah, it's a Guy Ritchie film. I think it's out. I've just not seen it. Strange enough, isn't it?
17th of March it was released.
Yeah.
But no, I found them mildly entertaining, but then watching a Liam Neeson film, you just think, was the script written for him so he
Yeah.
didn't actually have to change his acting style at all? Or is it just that they're not acting and that's really who they are?
But there's lots of actors like, I mean, look at Sean Connery. You know, he played all these films and was always talking like this, even when he was a Russian sea captain.
Yeah.
And
or Michael Caine for that.
yeah, again, Michael Caine. But they're so good that you go past the fact
Yes.
that they, you know,
Yeah.
and they're convincing in their roles. I mean, Jesus, Michael Caine's done some amazing stuff.
There was a film, was it probably about 7 or 8 years ago? Was it Harry Brown? Where he's basically playing a retired soldier or policeman or whatever,
Yeah.
and seeking revenge. I thought that for a guy his age was a bloody good movie.
Neeson was a lot of fun in Darkman. The old Sam
I've
Raimi
seen that
movie.
one.
Oh, Dark Man, I remember that.
That basically got him the Spider-Man gig. Darkman alone
right.
was. I mean, Evil Dead was great stuff, but Darkman was kind of a superhero thing, and put him on the map for doing those kind of movies.
I loved The Evil Dead. It was just a classic horror movie, and special effects done so cheaply and yet so well.
He kind of reinvented it in Drag Me to Hell. I don't know if you saw that one, but that was pretty wild. With the gypsy revenge.
I'll have to look that one up.
The Gypsy Revenge in, what was it, Lockstock? The end of Lockstock, wasn't it?
Oh, Lockstock, that's a great film, isn't it?
And let me tell you.
It's a deal. It's a steal. It's sale of the fucking century.
Yeah. Now, I tell you what, the star of that film is, what's his name, Bricktop? Was it Bricktop?
Yeah, Bricktop was great. He was a great character.
Yeah.
I can't remember, try and remember the answer.
I don't care if it's
Oh, yes.
fucking Mohammed
Yeah.
Imad Bruce Lee. You don't duck on a fight.
But there's another actor who plays to type.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's always cast as the archetypal London gangster
Yeah. Exactly so.
who kills people with 10-inch black dildos.
And what was it? The Russian.
Oh yeah.
Can't kill the Russian. But I mean that exposed, I think, weirdly, of what's his face being actually quite an entertaining actor.
I'll just say the heavy in that, plus Statham, these other guys. How many of those football guys became actors?
Yeah. He what's his bloody name? Vinny.
Who?
Vinny Jones.
Vinny
isn't
Jones.
it?
Vinnie Jones.
He's actually good in that film.
Yeah.
I think it's plus the
doesn't
fact he
speak.
was driving around in a Rover P6. I mean,
Yeah.
what's not to like? You know, smashing the bloke's head in the door, and the car phone goes off. Bonjour. It's very good.
Yeah, but
I
he
liked it.
made some good choices. There's some bad choices because you don't really see him in much nowadays. But he was in that Gone in 60 Seconds, wasn't he? Played alongside Nick Cage.
Yeah, and that football one in prison. With,
Oh, God. Yeah. Well, there you go.
yeah,
We're going to make a film about thugs who play football. Vinny.
yeah, but wasn't it? Who is it? Oh God, I've forgotten his name. The guy did Smokey and the Bandit.
Burt Reynolds.
Burt Reynolds. Yeah, didn't he? Burt Reynolds in it. That one.
I just can't remember.
Burt Reynolds' best roles were the Boogie Nights and the
Yes.
Deliverance. Those are pretty much it.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, come on.
yeah.
Smoking the Bandit was pretty cool.
It's fun, but it wasn't good.
Yeah, it's fun. It's fun. It's
Yeah.
not. It's not a
Okay.
classic, but it's fun.
Yeah.
No, yeah, he was great in Boogie Nights. That was
Yeah.
what an excellent film. What an excellent film.
I like some of
What an excellent
the
prosthetic.
the stuff that was made in the 70s, British films like Scum. I
Yeah.
don't know whether you remember that. That was
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Where's your tool? Here's me fucking tool. Yeah.
Long Good Friday.
Oh, that was
Oh, yeah.
fantastic. I loved that
I mean,
film.
the
Yes.
ending of that film. I could just watch that ending over and over.
Yeah, I just rewatched that. That's a good one.
The fact that he sits there in the back of that car and he doesn't say a word for that. And there's Pierce Brosnan pointing a gun at his head. But he doesn't say, Hoskins doesn't say a single word. And yet he's speaking volumes just by, the look on his face where he goes from like anger to realization and then kind of
Resignation.
acceptance. Yeah, it's just an unbelievable piece of face acting. It's just
Yeah.
Imagine watching that and Who Framed Roger Rabbit right after it.
But yeah, I mean, range. There you go. There was a man with range. Bless you.
Yeah.
Yes.
But he came from the stage, didn't he? Mind you, Daniel Craig did as well.
Yeah. Most of the good ones tend to. Excuse me. Yes.
I just find films made maybe up to 5-6 years ago I can watch, but there's a lot of modern stuff now. I mean, I've been watching Amazon Prime because I basically can't find anything worth watching on Netflix.
It's like music, right? I mean,
There are good films out there. There are films out there that will suit all tastes. It's just finding them, and it's trying to filter through the amount because we're just sort of bombarded with it. It's like
I think I actually got Netflix so I could watch BoJack Horseman.
yeah,
I think
I
that-
used to
think
spend all
you'll
my time at Blockbuster in the old movies. I never went to new releases.
yeah. Well, our biggest business as when I used to work in video rental was always the legacy stuff, the classics. My world cinema section at one of my branches, which was in the university district of Norwich, my world cinema section was in a tiny little kind of cubby hole, and yet it was one of the most profitable sections of the entire video store. You could do, I think it was at £1.25 for 7-night rental. But that just meant that the students would come in, they'd have a fiver, and they'd get 3 films.
Yeah.
Instead of just the one blockbuster for for 2 nights or whatever it was. So I used to make tons of money off of all of that stuff.
Those are my favorite jobs ever. As a video store in high school. It's great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
I mean, that's what I like a lot of films now too. Like this thing that you love for vintage synthesizers. It's exactly the same thing. Of you go watch a film that you saw 25 years ago, and you go, yeah, because it was great when I watched it, and then you watch it and you go, it's not quite right.
Rose-colored glasses, right?
Yeah, exactly. So
I've just ordered a film from the States that's just been rescanned in high res, or I think it's a 2K scan, but it's a 4K Blu-ray of Man on the Moon, Jim Carrey.
Oh yeah,
the Andy Kaufman story. Brilliant film. So yeah, that's
Milos Forman made some good stuff.
Oh yeah, and there's the brilliance of having Danny DeVito playing Andy Kaufman's manager, but obviously he worked with Kaufman in Taxi as well, and they got some of the old Taxi cast back in it as well, and Courtney Love is brilliant in it.
I mean, he made that, then he made People versus Larry Flint. He's all over the place.
Oh, great.
And then he made Amadeus, right? Isn't he Amadeus?
Yeah.
So.
No, I must admit, we had a bit of a giggle when we were watching. What was it? She had on. Oh, Carry On, Doctor.
Brilliant. Cheesy as hell, but still funny.
Fiona goes, she couldn't make a film like this today. I said, no, where are you going to find that much comedy talent now?
Yeah, and so cheaply.
Or mentally unstable talent. Yeah.
But they made those films in 2 or 3 days.
Yeah, they knocked them out, didn't they? Yeah.
Literally.
Oh.
Come on.
I've heard about those shows. Are they all pretty much the same cast over all?
Yeah, it was kind of an ensemble.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. Ins and outs. Like sometimes you get a Derek Geiler in one, and then not.
Yeah.
And Brian.
But Sid and Kenneth Williams and
Bernard Bresslaw
and
Barbara Windsor,
the guy with the glasses.
Hawthorne.
Jim Dale.
Jim Dale was he was in a few.
But the funniest of them all really was Kenneth Connor.
Oh, Kenneth Connor's a genius. Yeah, he was brilliant.
He was
understated, wasn't he? But
older. Nora.
Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, but it's just some of the gags.
Charles Hawtrey, Matt Evans.
Charles Hawtrey.
That's it. Yeah,
that's the one.
My coworker in Scotland turned me onto the show. I forgot the name of it, but it's this lady keeps going, "Yep, I can definitely smell shite."
Oh, that's
what is that?
Like weird guys working in the store who don't know what they're
chewing
doing.
The fat.
That's it. Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah. I got the DVDs of that because it was hilarious. It was quite unknown down here.
That woman's the best part. I can definitely smell shite.
Yeah. Yep. Definitely shite.
I've got to watch that new Catherine Tate sitcom that's on Netflix about women's prison.
All right.
The trailers look okay, but some of the reviews have been a bit.
Well, let's hope it's better than Nan Gran the film.
I wish he hadn't done that. I really do. I like Gran as she is, but the film, that's just pushing it. That's not believable. That's not relatable.
Yeah.
But
because she's not going to go. What a fucking liberty!
Well, think of all the stuff they try to make movies out of. Even the Jerky Boys. It's their comedy tapes are hilarious, but it's a horrible movie. Just doesn't work.
Some things just should be left alone.
Yes. I'm trying to think what was some of the other ones that were in Chewing the Fat. Some of the other characters that kept reoccurring.
Yeah, I can't remember. I remember the name, but
Is there a lot of Scottish original programming, or is it mostly stuff from England?
There's a lot of the national stuff broadcast up there, and sometimes, if you're really lucky, you get some of the actual homegrown stuff make it down here.
A lot of the Scottish stuff tends to appear on either BBC Two or BBC Three or something, or four even. Yeah,
because Absolutely was technically Scottish, wasn't it?
Yeah.
He had a great clip he showed me of the I guess the Scottish Prime Minister, maybe I forgot what her title is, but
First Minister.
Going off about some something during the pandemic, and she was foul mouthed. It was hilarious. She's a lot of fun.
Yeah,
I wouldn't describe Nicola Sturgeon as fun, but
we Jimmy Cranky, but because they did another series of that spun off from Chewing the Fat with the two Jack and Victor.
Oh yeah,
Still Game.
Yeah, Still Game. Get it right up them.
Yeah. Well, that was quite good.
What was the one with the guy with the false leg, and he stuffed all his winnings in his leg?
Oh yeah.
And he's practicing football and he went straight out the window of the block of flats and down into the street, and all the kids nicked the money. Yeah. No, because Absolutely, I think started it off, didn't it? Because that made it onto Channel 4.
Yeah.
And a lot of the guys from that went on to do other things in all bleeding directions.
Oh God, yeah.
John Sparks, for instance.
Yeah.
He was a very funny guy.
Shadwell.
Ah, yeah. Yeah, and Rowena Banks, which used to do the little girl,
yeah,
and talk shite about something.
That was funny.
Yeah, it was actually hilarious. But my favourite was Callum Gilhooly with his anorak, and his Honda motorbike manuals. You should check it out on YouTube, people. It's culture.
What was the other one? Big Train. Remember Big Train?
Oh, Big Train, Jesus Christ.
Great.
Yeah.
Again, it launched the careers of a whole bunch of Simon Pegg and.
It's like watching back old episodes of Shooting Stars.
Yeah.
And some of the songs, Matt
Lucas's
songs.
Yeah.
Baked Potato.
Yeah.
It's amazing that ever got made, because it was so completely off the wall.
It's amazing.
I mean,
anything that Vickery got made.
You can't describe it to anyone.
But Reeves
what
and
it was.
Mortimer were such hot property at that point. They could have done anything.
I mean, Big Night Out was like, what the hell is this? I mean, it's hilarious, but I don't really know why I'm laughing, but I am laughing my tits off at two blokes. Oh, you wouldn't let it lie.
You wouldn't let it lie. Yeah.
And there was the guy in the white coat that used to come through, the gormless blonde, bald guy. Oh, what was his? He used to come in and just do a thing, and then the guys with the big chins. Ooh.
Yeah, fucking huge, and the folk singers.
Yes, the folk singers. Yeah. But we used to go around like and go to people like this, and people, everyone would know what you mean. You do it now. Nobody has a clue. You're mad.
No.
Or rubbing your trousers frantically. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah. And old what's his face always looking just deadpan all the time. Old what's his fruit?
Hi, Matt.
Hello, Bubby.
Mark Lamar.
Mark Lamar. Just like they're doing all these jokes and just there going.
Yeah, the whole 50s joke, 50s rocker joke.
But having Matt Lucas run on in a baby
growth, yeah.
baby growth, and playing the drums, and then just do things like "Leave it out, you slag." Your
Mulligan
team
and
has
O'Hare,
2 points. It's mad. Yeah. Yes. Just goes to show how mundane a lot of today's TV is.
Yeah.
That's all it's done. It's shown that up.
So did anybody go and search monkey dust after I mentioned it the other night
No.
and have a look at Clive? Where have you been, Clive? No. We were talking about it the other week when we were talking about
Yeah.
golf wrap. Because they used Lovely Head. Oh, well.
No.
No.
Fall on stony ground there, I'm afraid, my young man.
Stony ground. Sorry.
Nigret, you're wearing your moustache. Hey, it's my turn this week. We've got a letter from the Olympic team.
Yeah, I think the problem is that TV is not prepared to push the boundaries and not prepared to be experimental and not really. They're too scared to fail. You know, when you think back to some of the stuff that used to be done on BBC Two in particular, and I mean, you know, Faulty Towers, there were only 13 episodes or something. You know, it was they were prepared to put an investment in something and hope that it worked, and if it didn't, well, you know, move on to the next.
But, you know, you could say that the fact that we've now got gazillion TV channels, and not just TV, but also, you know, YouTube and the like, that you can pretty much find whatever you want. You know, maybe the daring stuff isn't done on TV anymore. The daring stuff is done on other platforms. You know,
Well, it certainly won't be done on YouTube because you'd get banned immediately.
But it's, yeah, I mean,
So
YouTube
Faulty
is
Towers
just-
only took up on reruns.
Stand there.
yeah, I mean, there's all that kind of stuff as well. I mean,
The
but
original
I
Star
think,
Trek did that too, right? It wasn't doing shit
Yeah.
until it hit reruns. So
and also, it's when you only had, like, certainly here in the UK, when you only had 3 or 4 channels, you could do stuff and it wouldn't work, but it wouldn't matter because there wasn't really much else for many other places for people to go.
yeah,
So you just kind of said, well, I won't watch that, but I'll watch this instead. And you didn't have a choice, or you didn't have a huge choice.
But many ideas came from radio.
Yes, and still do. Yeah, if you look at, you know, stuff like Would I Lie to You and all that kind of stuff is all just BBC radio quizzes that have just been, you know, tarted up for TV. Room 101 was radio and
Yes.
all of that stuff.
I
Radio is still
I
amazing.
preferred Room 101 on Radio 4, I've got to say.
Yeah, I mean, radio is. I'm just constantly amazed at how radio is still a vibrant platform. Not that, you know, I don't think it should be. It's absolutely brilliant, and there is, you know, the whole, certainly commercial radio here in the UK, where it's all just been swallowed up by like 1 or 2 companies, and they just, you know, they syndicate all this stuff around, you know, the different, your local commercial radio station's not actually made anywhere in your area. It's all centralized in London. They just push it out, and it's just
the only
horrible.
good radio here is satellite radio.
Yeah, but there's still a really big demand for it, which is great. And, you know, the fact that you've got people giving up jobs in television to go and then work
to
on the
radio.
radio.
Yeah. But radio is now becoming television.
Yeah, it's just cross-pollination
Well, the
at
old
the end of the day.
Benedict Cumberbatch started off on radio, didn't he?
Yeah,
Yep.
so many people started on
Doing
radio.
Cabin Pressure that hardly anybody knows about.
Yeah.
But there are a lot of people
I
don't know
do.
about.
I listen to every single episode.
Good boy. Yellow Car. You're always playing Yellow Car. I mean, what's the other one? Old Harry's Game.
Mm.
Know that one? Andy Hamilton.
Yep.
I know Andy Hamilton, but I don't know that.
You don't know Old Harry? Check it out. It's pretty cool. On Audible, I believe. Yeah, there's been loads in the past. There was one called oh shit, I can't remember. Basically, it's a piss take, it's super piss take of a Norwegian crime drama. You know how those Norwegian crime dramas are like.
Yeah, Nordy Noir or whatever they called it.
And
yeah.
it is. It's and they got this narrator. It's so funny. They got this thing goes something like the snow was laying very cold and crisp, a bit like Stuffler. Stuffler is a dish best served cold. not like Revenge, which should be slightly warmer. And it's them. They go, and then they do things like he lay there dead, like frozen Stoffler, and all this sort of fucking hilarious stuff. And he keeps going on about his pet duck that died instead of his dead wife. And then you hear it in an echo going quack, and all this sort of thing.
I'm just going to go and get a little nightcap. I should be going to bed because I've got to be up early to take the missus.
I've never seen you in a hat.
Ha 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 ha. Hang on a sec. Ugh.
So how are you, Matt?
I'm all right, mate. Not too bad.
Good man.
Yeah, ticking along.
Fully
Nothing.
recovered?
Oh yeah, I'm now. It took a while, but yeah. No, nothing much happens down here. It's very quiet, very sleepy. Here he is.
What's evening,
well?
Robert?
Morning.
No, it's still evening.
Yeah, it's still evening, just about.
Depends which time zone you're in.
Yeah, true.
That's true.
It's morning somewhere.
Well, we're in the proper one, Greenwich Mean.
We
The
actually are
only
again.
one.
The only one.
We are again in the proper time zone.
Yep,
'Cause-
Greenwich,
'cause-
where the
'cause we
time
put the
is
lo-
made.
Because
Well,
we
it's-
put the
it's over
line
there.
there.
Actually, we're not because we're in summertime, so we're not in the proper time zone.
Sod this universe and all the others. That's what I say. Damn them all.
So why are we on tonight? What's any reason, or just felt
Yeah,
like?
what
I
needs
was-
testing?
My Hydrasynth was acting up.
Oh God.
Yeah, it's just going out of tune.
What?
Would you believe? Yeah, just randomly go out of tune, and then you go up the keyboard, and every now and
That's
again.
called authentic, isn't it?
Yeah, but if you go up the keyboard, and then it'll play a note, but it was 3 octaves too low.
You haven't got it plugged into the CS, have you?
I'll tell you what, I'm wondering if the CS has infected it in some way.
That's what I was saying earlier, right? It's jealous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm going, this is not
Stop
good.
copying me. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so she has not been happy. But so far this evening, she's been okay. Been behaving herself.
Is the Hydra digital?
Very. Exceedingly. But it's been
Okay.
acting like a shite analog synth.
So it hasn't got a drift knob like bloody System 8.
What they did was very clever. They did some kind of AI filter emulation stuff. So they went and copied as many filters as they could get their hands on.
Mm.
Even Ken Flux loves this filter called the Threeler, which is a kind of obscure modular filter that's really cool, really powerful.
Yeah.
And he said, "Hey, how about modeling this?" And in like a few days, they had that one modeled. So they keep adding. That's what's so great about it. It's all software. They can just add whatever the hell they want to it.
Yeah, exactly.
So
But what this was doing was like, this isn't right. This is no. I'd expect this from a memory mode, not this.
only thing you can't do is add your own wavetables. That's the only thing they missed. But since
Yet.
most people don't want to do that, or the results are crap, they don't bother. So
Yeah. Oh, you'd be surprised how many people don't do it, even with just the Oscar. It's only 8.
well, I do it with my
wavetables you have to add.
TS10. I use
Yeah.
I make a transwave, the Transilon transwave app, and you can make your own transwaves for it.
Mm.
So
Pretty sweet. Yeah, I funny enough, I got a message on Facebook. I think it came in yesterday. Somebody saying about somebody's friend told their friend who told him that apparently I have a Roly 2, and where did I get it from?
it worked.
Yeah. So I'm sticking it up on eBay now for £20,000. Or
Gotta remember to glue that MIDI port on there. So
Mm. Yeah, that's a point. Yeah. I'll just write Dolby C beside it. Not Dolby C, like a fucking USB C. But yeah, but no, I don't know. Mind you, there was a chappie on Amazon again trying to sell a PlayStation 5 for 1,500 quid.
jeez.
That's not bundled with anything. That's just the 5.
There's a guy selling one down here for about 500 quid the other day. Mate of mine.
Yeah.
Yeah, he sold it within about 10 minutes. I think.
Yeah,
Literally.
you
long
should have
as
told
that.
Kent.
Yeah. Yeah, but
I-
both me and Robbie are waiting for one to come up.
it wasn't there long enough. I would have done because I know that you two are both
Yeah.
shouting about them.
Yeah,
So
this is it. I mean, when get the email saying there's stock at Very, for instance, by the time you've typed in Very and got to the website, they're gone. Oh, bloody lot.
So they came out just before the chip shortages?
I think they did, yeah. But they
not
just
built by
haven't-
Behringer, are they?
No, these exist. Yeah. These are physical, apparently.
There's not a PlayStation Soul version coming out?
Oh God, I don't know. God help us. But yeah, but there again. No, like I was saying earlier, all this Behringer stuff, if and when it comes out, it's pretty good. Especially, I must admit, the PPG looks quite nice.
Does look good, yeah.
Yeah, I probably wouldn't get one. I didn't really go for PPGs when they were around.
The VSTs are quite good, actually.
Yeah.
The VST is brilliant.
I was going to say, did Robbie know his mic's off?
Yes, yes, I do now. The VST, the Waldorf VST, is as close as I've ever heard to the real deal.
I mean, there's only one thing that's really annoying is that you only have 128 packages. So it only splits it into of the original ones. Basically, it stops after 64B, whereas the original goes to the famous choir pack is something like 80, which it doesn't have in the plugin because somebody thought still trying to cling on to FXB.
I mean, the cathedral choir.
The classic Alpha Will PPG choir. That is preset 80, but because it stops at 64B, you don't get there.
The worst bit about the plugin for me is the GUI. It's just so fucking small, and I've written to them and never heard anything back. So please, just make it bigger.
I mean, you
Wasn't
could
version
be
3
glad it's
scalable?
64-bit.
No, it's not scalable at all.
Oh.
You should be glad it's 64-bit and not 32 anymore.
Well, absolutely, but for the amount of money you pay for it, I mean, it's not what was it? A full price is like 160 or something.
You can drop your resolution.
Yeah, well, I don't want to do that. So,
what Wolfram left Waldorf must have been nearly 10 years ago now. So I mean, that's not really anyone probably developing it anymore.
Who done the very first one?
Sorry?
Donkeys years ago. The very first.
That was Waldorf, branded by Steinberg.
Yeah, was that it? Yeah,
version 2,
so
that was
long
good.
ago. I think it only came on cassette.
2.V.
Donkeys. And I thought,
but if the Behringer knockoff is if that comes with some kind of wave term functionality, so that maybe there's an app that you can then I will probably pay for that and buy the whole thing. But if it's just the wave, I mean, they've not. Have they said if it's modelling or copying a wave 2.2 or 2.3 or what?
Maybe it can be any of them.
I would assume with Herman's involvement that 2.2 and 2.3.
Yeah.
I mean, considering from what it looks like, it's basically emulate the entire digital side of a wave on some modern processor or FPGA. And then deal with the analog filters afterwards, which is also why you have the original display and then that little small display below, which seems to be the actual modern thing behind it. But it just emulates the archaic structure of the original.
I wonder if they'll do authentic clones of the 10-inch drives for the term.
Well, 8-inch.
They're 8-inch.
Yeah.
The wave term A was 8 and the wave term B was 5 1/4, and there are some knocking around that are wave term Bs but with wave term As with 5 1/4-inch drives.
They're also wave term Bs with which were upgraded wave term A, which are even worse because they then have 8-inch drives. They're even weirder hybrid on the inside.
The PWL PPG, so they had it was a Wave 2.3, the big controller keyboard with the disk drive, and the wave term. The wave term was this kind of weird transitional thing. It wasn't an A, it wasn't a B. It was kind of a bit of both, but it sounds amazing.
Actually,
the guy
talking
bought
of
it.
discs, you know the emulator one you were having a crack on. and it had like relatively conventional sounds on it, didn't it?
Mm.
When we was cleaning out the back of under the stairs in the kitchen, I found another library. And
As you do.
As
Or,
you
sorry,
do.
as you
And
do.
it was a whole stack of discs, and then they're labelled Blue Monday.
Oh, Jesus.
So somebody's gone to a lot of trouble there,
Mm.
sampling a 12-incher.
Dear idea.
Yeah, which is
Well,
You
not
just start
somebody
learning
sounds
more
down
like
again.
Indiana Jones over there.
Honestly. It's unreal.
it does get a bit like that.
It is unreal.
Yeah, I had to weigh a bag of sand to get the library.
Exactly, into Gold Idol.
Swap it
yeah.
over. Swap it over.
Fiona's the one with the whip.
Yeah.
Like you wouldn't believe.
And he's got Alfred Molina hanging out there because he's the guy, right? So
But no, I think I hate to say it, but the Behringer Wave does push a few of my buttons in terms of something desirable. I because it's something that really doesn't exist and hasn't existed for such a long while.
I mean, the closest you currently have is the Waldorf M, which is sort of a not quite a microwave one, but then it has the SSI filters, so it goes a bit in 2.3 direction, but with the slightly better interpolation. I mean, calling it there's some sort of interpolation going between the waves and the wavetable, unlike with the 2.2 or 2.3, where it goes click, 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 click when you go through the wavetable. Which is, of course, what we love about them.
I had to laugh. There was somebody on, was it Synthesizer Freaks or whatever, one of these Facebook groups, and somebody posted the picture of the wave, and somebody was just moaning about them and said, "Oh yeah, well, when I want a synth that doesn't cut through a mix, I might get one of these." And I'm like, really?
Have I heard a real one?
Have you ever heard a real one? Have you ever heard the countless number of artists and songs that are not only commercially successful but critically acclaimed that have a PPG at their heart? I mean, fuck, And so I mentioned this, a very sort of like tongue-in-cheek, I just said, counts the number of amazing records that have been made with the PPG, and then he said, "You're just a kid, aren't you?" I'm like, I'm probably old enough to be your father. I was around when this thing bloody came about. You twat. And that's why we started PSN, because of little threads like that.
Wasn't there a little bit of a bun fight going on PSN today or yesterday?
On which?
Where you showed the picture of that memory mode. And that was just a bit of a bun fight started.
There was 2 or 3 posts back and forth, but it was all very polite and well mannered. These things. I mean, that's the thing. Is the amazing thing about that group is that if you run it and just let things kind of, we've jumped. I think I could probably count the amount of threads that we've jumped on one hand ever since it started. Which I'm imagining groups like, Synthesizer Freaks and all the others could not probably match. But then we don't have as huge a number of people on there. I mean, we've got about 1,600 people on there, but most of them are pretty decent and respectful people.
But not only that, most of the people in this group are bloody good people as well.
Well, yes, that, yeah.
Yeah, and assholes.
There's some wankers around like me.
Yeah.
No, because we all accept that everybody's got different points of view and different.
We all have
and
different percentages of arseholeness. That's what it is.
Everyone's got an arsehole.
Everybody's got an
smellier than
arsehole.
others.
Some are a little pinker. Who knows? Eh?
Some of us are just great big ones.
No, because there was a chappie on there. He was going on about some of the faults of the memory mode, and totally get it, because they do. And because he said he'd repaired over 25 of them now. Ooh. And you keep having the same, and I go, I can't. No, I'm not going to wade in. Try about 1,200, mate. Yeah, it just sort of glaze over after a while. Trust me, it's just
The amount of discussions I've had with people on other pages and things like that, where it's just like so tempted to throw your name in the mix just to fuck them up. It's just like...
Yeah, I mean, because I mean, sometimes I make a statement like, "Oh yeah, no, we've got a walled-off wave rotting in the back bottom of the garden." Yeah, and people go, "Yeah, right," and then Robbie comes over and goes, "Oh fuck, that's a walled-off wave rotting over in the corner of that garden." Yeah.
I thought he was kind of joking. I thought maybe it's just a little.
It's funnier
mouldy.
when it's true.
But
You
yeah,
only- You only have to
there-
visit. Go on.
Yeah.
You only have to visit Kent's place once to know that that's not.
yeah. Once you've been there, you just.
I mean,
But
it's,
I must
it's an
admit,
art piece that has waves of water going over it. So
Yeah, yeah. I
But-
mean, are they ever going to claim the wave? Do you reckon?
It's what made them go bust in the 90s or early 2000s.
Yeah, that's
But-
what I was
but-
hoping.
But I mean, with the Quantum, they sort of did the modern version of it.
well, they have the
Yeah.
microwave M, and I have the microwave XT, and that's make one of those if they're going to make that.
Well, the microwave and the XT they sort of brought back with the M now, and Iridium and Quantum has, of course, the analog filters, so that's in some ways closer to the original wave.
Well,
But
you know,
they're
they were
sort
in
of the top
trouble,
of the range.
You know they were in trouble when it had all the sequencer transport buttons on the front panel and no sequencer. They go, yeah, we'll get round to it. Don't worry. Give us a couple more months. We'll get round to it. Go, yeah, but dude, you put the buttons on. Yeah, just ignore it, all right? Just pretend they're not there.
What's actually quite interesting, if you read the Chrome keyboard magazines from the 90s, when you notice how like everybody pushed Waldorf that they like should make this big product, and then they did it, and people complained that it was expensive after everybody wanted a big expensive product, and then ultimately it killed them. But
Yeah.
because
Yeah, but they
I mean,
didn't learn because they made that bloody thing, out of solid milled aluminium.
which one?
It was recent, wasn't it?
No,
Well,
that was
so
Axel Hart. That was Axel Hartman just getting from Waldorf the engine, but selling it himself.
Yeah.
And
Well,
making
they
a
never
massive
even
loss.
made the Stromberg, right? It was just a mock-up.
I mean, in many ways, the Quantum is sort of a Stromberg. I mean, different people involved, but again, that was a different Q plus basically. I mean, the Blofeld is just a slightly modified micro Q.
Right.
Where the Stromberg would have been like a different slightly different Q plus.
Yeah, I mean, other than the sample thing add-on for Blofeld, which is cool, it sounds a lot like my micro Q. So
I mean,
That's
it
it.
is basically the same engine, but
Right.
the difference is that it's made by a different company. It's made by Waldorf Music instead of Waldorf or whatever it was before, and whatever it's called now.
Well, here's a statement that'll piss off a few people. I put my VP330 up against the Strymon this morning. It's not even close. It's not.
What
it
Skyfat, you
doesn't-
mean? Or
Yeah, Stripe it doesn't really sound the way I mean, I bought it 2 years ago, but I actually managed to turn it on today, and it really doesn't sound like I thought it was going to sound. I thought it was
No,
going to sound like a
the Skyfat is it is definitely completely its own string machine, but it's ultimately a pulse wave oscillator rather than with everybody else using like filtered or stacked pulse wave to get the saw-like sound.
Yeah.
That thing just sticks with a pulse wave.
Yeah, because I thought I might get, like a VP sound out of it, and what I was actually
like-
getting was more like the Quadra.
Or the choir and that sort of stuff goes in the P2000 range and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And then the what do they call it, the lead or the other stuff where you can do your sort of Elka Rhapsody harpsichords on. I mean, it's a very interesting thing because it doesn't imitate any old product. It is like
Somebody at the door, Ken.
what about their STV, whatever, fancier version? Does that sound more like a classic?
no,
Stromberg?
that's the same thing with
With the choir added and
some
stuff. Yeah.
with the vocoder taken from something based on the Lector plugin, which to be fair, that's one of the best vocoder plugins out there because they have what they call their whitening filter, which like if you put a choir sound into it and vocode it tries to take a bit of that double nasal that you get out of that, and it actually makes a very intelligible vocoder.
Yeah, that's cool.
But
It's very disconcerting. You look out the window and the headlights of your car is on, and you go like that. And then out comes Fiona with 2 bottles of wine. Hey, all right, hey, boy, hey, we're going to a party. Hey.
The Strike Vet is, I think of it as its own type of string machine.
It's a modern string machine. It's not an old one.
But
So
it wasn't trying to emulate anything.
What's the the 340 Behringer thingy? What's that like in comparison to a 330?
Behringer.
From what I've heard, it sounds like a Mark II, which, if like me, you like the Mike Oldfield sound, because a Mark I really dull, then you're just like, well, this is disappointing. But for people who like the Mark II sounds, it's probably there. But
I haven't heard many complaints about it, I've got to say.
Again, compared to a Mark II, it seems to sound totally fine, and if that's the sound I were after, yes. But
I might sneak one of them in. They're not big, are they?
No.
I'm sure there's a crevice I can cram it into here somewhere.
Yeah, I don't think of one.
It's not a bunker.
Yeah, that's where walkers go.
Yeah.
And you still have some wall space behind you, I can see it. So, you know.
I can't put it in there, Robbie. That's where all my best opinions and ideas come from.
Can't block the stream of consciousness.
No. I could not mute myself that way.
Block his root chakra if he did that.
I don't know. But yeah, so... No, I don't need to buy anything else. What the fuck is the matter with me?
Well, I just bought QX21.
Yeah,
that's
last...
It's coming tomorrow, is it?
It's last week.
Well, I think it is, because the guy was in Bristol, right? This is fucking stupid.
Bristol.
I messaged him. He was selling it for 30 quid. He said it's in pretty good condition for 30 quid. I said, I don't need it, but it'll go in the collection. So I said, how much for postage in the UK? He said, £5. I said, fine. PayPal him 35 quid. Lovely jubbly. Thank you very much. He said, I'll put it in the post tomorrow. And then this was, so Thursday morning, he sends me a picture of the package so I can see exactly how it's been packed. And he said, I'm now off to the post office. So he goes, and an hour later, I get a message from him and says, don't suppose you could throw us a few more quid for the postage, could you? And then he sends a picture of the receipt, and the postage was just shy of 10 quid. And then I looked a bit further up the receipt, and he's paid for Parcel Force Express 24 on the Thursday before the Easter Bank holiday weekend.
So
why pay for
today?
Fucking brilliant.
No, of course he didn't. It didn't get picked up on Thursday because they'd all finished. And so it only got picked up this morning, so it's going to be here tomorrow, one would assume.
For God's sake.
Along with,
Oh my God.
I've got a GoTech drive for the Emacs coming tomorrow. Then I've also, I think, hopefully got those DX7 bits. So it's going to be a busy day.
What needs replacing on the 7?
Needs more bells.
Key contacts and
It's
top
Doorbell
B flat.
switch.
Top B flat
Yeah.
key is
New push button.
But no, other than that, it's only we've got to figure out what's going on with the internal RAM, which I think is something to do with the poorly, not Kent, I must point out, the poorly fitted battery holder that's been cemented in place by a hot glue gun.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that's always fun.
That's the best way. I mean, if it's fit enough hot glue, then it just comes off and doesn't stick at all.
Yeah, but it's molded around chips and diodes, and
Again, if it's fit enough hot glue, then it just comes off.
yeah, hopefully we'll see.
Wait, I missed that.
Yeah.
What has the hot glue?
Sorry,
Battery
No,
holder.
what unit has the hot glue? What?
This is DX7.
Mark
DX7.
1.
Oh man.
They've put a black plastic battery
It's
holder.
a coin battery converter,
Yeah.
isn't it?
So
It's
on my
funny
SX240, I replaced it with a cell phone battery, or no, a cordless phone battery from Radio Shack, and I put it in a battery tray, so even if it leaks on the tray.
Yeah.
and it
Oh,
works great.
I've seen so many different ways of people replacing the battery on the DX7, and really, I mean, is it too much? If you've got to open it up to unsolder 2 points on the board to take one of these pre-wrapped cells off and just put another one on, I don't see the point of fitting a battery holder in a place where a battery holder just doesn't tend to fit.
I think
It's
they
too
do.
big and it stands too tall and doesn't. You have to kind of.
Solder tag battery cells are ridiculously expensive compared to
Well,
the coin
you
batteries.
said to me.
And stupid.
You said to me the other day, Kent, and you got me all worried.
What?
About the availability of coin batteries or whatever one calls them, and I've got a stash in my toolkit. I've just went out because my local hardware store just do them, all the sizes. I just went and bought a whole 5 or 6 of everything. And my missus came in the other day. She says, "Can you put a new battery in my kitchen scales, please?" And I said, "What is it?" And she goes, It's one of those little button battery things.
2032, yeah.
It's a 2032. So I go to my toolkit and I've got one 2032 left.
Yeah.
And I've got a very desperate wife in the kitchen wanting her kitchen scales operating. I'm thinking, I don't want to give this to you, especially if what Kent has said is true. I went on Amazon and I bought 12 2032s for £6. So they're still pretty available, thankfully.
Were they a good brand? Because
Panasonics.
I don't seem to have any recollection of this.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah, he said the other week that.
Didn't you order 50 or something from RS?
But
wow.
That rings
That's
a
gone.
bell.
That's gone.
Yeah, this is still pretty common. I can get a 3-pack at Walgreens down the street for a couple bucks. So
You talk about availability. I was at my mum's on Sunday and I was looking for a pair of pliers. I was doing something for her. So I might be in there. My battery box. Opened it up. She's got about 400 AA's. I'm sure there was somewhere in the region of about 30, 20, 32s and fuck knows how many other stuff. She's cornered the market. It's probably all in my mum's house.
There you go.
They're in packets.
If you need batteries, let me know.
Are they in packets?
Yeah.
Because apparently, I was hearing about people. Where people put batteries into drawers.
Yeah.
And there's quite an interesting percentage of houses are burnt down from batteries in drawers.
Batteries shorting out.
Yeah.
Well, I found a couple of 2032s in the
In
tray of my
in the
tool.
packets.
No, not in the packet.
No. When they touch.
When they just throw the drawer,
no.
some old shit.
I always wrap a 20.
When you get a pack of 4
batteries.
and you take one out, and the other 3 end up just laying in the drawer or something like that.
Right.
And you can
You
actually
open and
start
close the
fire.
drawer a few times, and the batteries
shuffle around.
shift.
Yeah.
And,
Gotcha. Yeah, no. They're all in the blisters.
Yeah.
But whenever I throw those little button things away, I just wrap them in a piece of kitchen towel or something and just then throw them in because then, especially if there's more than one, just don't want to take that risk.
No, you should
But
get a lot-
everyone's
few
got
of
a drawer in their kitchen that's got batteries in.
I've got a drawer in my I've got it's not in the kitchen, but it's got a whole bunch of rechargeables. So I'm cheap, right? I'll just get that out of the way. I'm cheap, and so I buy.
Good to know.
I buy Lidl's rechargeable batteries, which are I forget the make of them now. They're not bad actually. Can't remember what make they are, but anyway, they last pretty well. But then when they go. That's it. They're just like fuck it. I'm off. Done.
I don't like using rechargeable batteries. I don't know why. It's
some things are good,
it's
other things are
harking
not so
back
good
to
because they don't give the same
the
voltage.
the old days of NiCad, but you don't get the right voltage out of them.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, if it's decently designed modern electronics, then we're happy with your 1.2 or from a nickel metal hydride.
The voltages are not too bad nowadays. It's the amperage, whether it's
Well, no, but if it's a nickel metal hydride, which is still the standard, most reliable, rechargeable A size, or 1.5 volt replacement.
Robbie's cheap. But
I am.
easy.
Yeah, very.
I mean, they're always 1.2 volts rather than the 1.5 of the classic alkaline. But then again, if you have something that can expect that, or a nice modern device where you can change your battery curve so that also your battery display displays it correctly, and doesn't get confused by the completely different discharge curve, and it's fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, not wanting to use NiCads, I can fully understand because they're disgusting to clean up after.
Well, and the old carbon batteries. They were nasty when they leaked out, corroded things.
Well,
But
yeah,
I get my AAs and AAAs from Costco. The Kirkland batteries are made by Duracell, and they're a damn sight cheaper.
Just get Duracell Industrial. They're like for the cheapest, highest quality. I think Energizer are really the best at the moment, but they just cost a bit more. And like Duracell Industrial is sort of in the middle, and then Varta, whatever the industrial range is if you want to be a bit
well,
more
yeah.
cheap.
Well, Varta do very good lead acid batteries and AGM batteries.
But the alkalines, they're great if you want to save a bit. But I mean, the Duracell Industrials are great is when you need to draw a lot of current. Well, mainly in my case, when using IEMs to drive drive impedances, they definitely shouldn't be driving. That's very handy because they suck a lot of power when you drive a lot more resistance than they intend to.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
almost
I-
if you have a power amp connected to something of high resistance, it likes to drive some current.
Whenever I have to replace a battery in an old piece of gear, I actually just put flying leads on and have an external battery that I just Velcro onto the back of the case, because I've spent too long cleaning PCBs and trying to restore PCBs from batteries that have leaked. And I've got lots of old shit hanging around, and I don't have the time to go through everything and replace the batteries annually like I should. So if you just have them on flying leads and just have them stuck on the back of the case, works fine for me.
I still can't remember which way round it is, but I know that they've had the occasional LM1 come in where they put a normal battery in instead of a rechargeable one on the power supply. And
I mean, that's fine for a few
exploded.
cycles. Well, depending on the type of
Kills
battery,
the
that's
charging
fine for.
circuitry.
But alkalines, you can easily recharge a few times, or well, freshen up is probably the better term. It's just after a few times, and if the current is a bit too high, you get a terrible mess.
Yeah, I mean,
They
when
used to
when
place
the
their
seals
alkaline
go-
batteries on a radiator to get a few extra
Yeah,
hours out
Well,
of them.
but that's like for more of a problem when you're trying to recharge alkalines because they're normally sealed. You make them explode, or it disintegrate internally. So putting them on a radiator, because you're also building up gas and you're increasing the pressure on the inside.
Well,
It was the 1970s. We didn't have rechargeable batteries.
We used to PWM charge them.
Recharging alkalines has been a thing in the 50s to do,
Yeah.
or freshen up rather than recharge.
yeah, but in the 70s you couldn't afford them. That was the thing. They cost a
Oh,
fortune.
No,
Well,
standard alkalines were recharged in the 50s because they were so bloody expensive.
But buying D cells for the light on your bike.
Yeah.
My missus
In
brought
those days, it
home.
was like £5 for two. Yeah.
My missus
Like
just
every
brought
wedding
home.
job.
My missus brought home her mum's torch. She has a torch. She's 86. She always has to have a torch somewhere.
Oh, the
they
big
operate.
9-volt.
No. They've still got the big D cells in them. I haven't seen some of those for years. But yeah, remember the big old square ones that used to go
Rob,
to my
somebody's
mum's.
come to see you, mate.
Oh, Noah's there, is he? My mum's old. What was the name of the radio? It began with an H. It's gone again. But they had the big square
Hacker.
thing.
Hacker.
Yeah, hacker. That's it. Hello, Noah.
Hey, nosy nose. How you doing, boy? How you doing? Yeah.
Look, happy as Larry, look.
He's lovely.
Wait, you're
He
creating
was
quite a breeze with that
absolutely
tail.
fucking out of his head on Saturday. He was just lying there on the blanket, wasn't he? Just
Oh yeah, you just go. Sun's out. No,
yeah. So he was just boom, dead
you
weight.
love it, don't you? Hey,
That was a
you-
lovely photograph from the bifold of the workshop.
Yeah.
It looks so much
Yeah.
better.
I'm so
doesn't it?
glad they've got so much room to run around and play now. It's just mental.
Oh, they need it, don't they? They have to have it.
Yeah. And it's much better, isn't it now, mate? Except you don't do any running.
No, fuck off, Dad. I'm off.
What? No, it's not sausage time. No.
Oh, I didn't see Fiona in the corner.
I weren't going there, mate.
No,
Got to.
we call her Akai. That's her nickname.
Was she a bit of a sampler, is she?
She likes sampling 12 inches. So. Is it all right? Is it sausage time? Is it sausage time?
Don't get it out, Ken. Don't get it out.
What,
Don't do a
Do I
tie.
look like
I was
tie
going
to
to say, leave that to Ty, wouldn't you?
Yeah. Do you want sausage? Where is it? But we call them sausage, but it's actually they're little treats, but they're sort of like pigs in blankets, miniature little pigs in blankets. Oh, mate. You'd climb a stepladder for one of them, wouldn't you?
So would I.
And so Charlie does his little dance and then does his thing with the feet. Charlie, want a sausage?
Watch. Every dog apart from Charlie will come hurtling through the door.
Actually, we were
Cereal
wondering about
piling
his
in.
hearing, actually.
Yeah.
We thought he was just being, a miserable arsehole. And he's not. Tapping on the window and stuff like that, and he's going everywhere else except where... Oh, hello. Weird dog. Sausage time. Right, I'm going to give him a sausage. All right, come on in. Come on. Yeah.
Oh dear. So I've been spending
Sausage time.
this afternoon
Do you? You want a sausage as
copying all of these that I won on Vemia the other day.
well? Yes.
SY85 sample discs
Doing it. Yes, I'm doing it. Come on.
with my trusty external FDD.
I've got
That
a
was
USB
fun.
one of those for Mac,
Yeah.
which it came
Yeah.
with a G3. I used to
This
have.
this one came. This was a Toshiba. I had a Toshiba laptop many years ago, and it came with a USB floppy. And when I returned the laptop to the company that once I'd left them, I didn't give them that, and it's been very useful. But,
Yeah, mine was. Don't use it now.
it just reminded me how obviously the SY85 was a big hit in the early 90s, and like every disc that comes like ambient techno and
It's fantastic.
mega hardcore kits and
There
hard
must be an acid.
loops,
There must be
Can't
an
you
acid
just
test
download-
somewhere.
dance loops, more techno loops, techno wave bass, techno wave hard bass.
Can't you just
Techno
download
wave,
them from
real-
the internet, Rob?
Sorry?
Rather than, can't you just download them from the internet?
Well, these are all like there's one official Yamaha, and then there's a company called Neutronic Songware. They produce like 15 discs. So I mean, you can download all the guy that makes the data blades in Northern Ireland. What's his name? I forget his name now. If you go onto his website, sector101.co.uk, he's put up all the images for all of the factory stuff and all the carts, the actual blades. Actually, that reminds me, I need to go and buy another one of those. But yeah, they're all free downloads on there, and you just stick them on your Sector 101 data blade, and away you go. But because these all came in SY85 floppy format, I've now got to figure out a way of getting those into my TG500, which doesn't have a floppy drive. But I thought I'd take a punt. Well, it doesn't have.
It doesn't have a floppy.
There's no drive. It's just
You've just got to
the blades.
sysx them.
No, you can't. You can only sysx them if they're in MIDI format, and these aren't in MIDI format. There was like a native SY85 format. There was G, T, and a couple of others. And then you had
Chicken sys translator.
No, I wouldn't even touch it with yours, mate. it and the person that made it is the worst piece of software in the worst software company in the world. So I shall never do business with them. No. I think what I'll do is my mate Mickey, I've sent them to him today, so hopefully he can load them in his SY85 and then export them as a .mid file, and then I can sysx them to the TG and then save them to the data blade.
So are them mini sample dump to get the samples across, or are they encoded in pure sysx?
Then these aren't SysX. They're in this
no,
kind
but
of native.
when to get them into the TV, is it sample dump or does it encode them as SysX?
It should be able to export them as SysX from the SY85, but I don't have an SY85 and I'm not familiar with it as an instrument to know what's coming out of it. I need to get the manuals, but hopefully Mickey can sort that. I know he's still in the chat room. He's probably gone to bed. It's his birthday, for fuck's sake.
I was going to say, there's a Yamaha you don't own.
Oh, there's a few. So I want an SY99, but A, they don't come up that often, and B, they're quite big. No, actually, they're not too bad. The last one I saw was about 450, 500 quid.
Well, they're actually not that big because each key is a millimeter shorter than it should be. Anyway,
still. I mean, look, the DX7 is still sat on the floor in its case because I couldn't know where to put it. So,
why didn't you get rid of one of the analogs?
No, what the one analog? I've only got one analog.
MS1.
Oh, that, yeah.
That.
Yeah, I can fit a DX7 in the space of an MS1 or MS101, as I should say. It's one of the early ones. No, I don't know. I'll have to. I still need to rearrange this room, but even then, I don't think I can make space. So I need to clear out my garage and start building into that.
Did you get the DX1 sorted yet?
No, I'm still waiting for Howard. I don't like to hassle him because he's got a family and stuff, and he's a busy man.
Yeah.
But the last I heard, the components had arrived, and he was then just going to, rebuild the PSU and test it. But he was talking about he wasn't getting the readings he was expecting, but he believes that's because it wasn't under load. So we just need to get it back and put it in the DX1 and test it under load. And fingers crossed that'll be that.
That's one of the bitches about this is it's when they go wrong, it's the time-consuming downtime, isn't it?
Yeah. But it's not like I'm not using it for anything. I don't use any of this stuff. No. It does take time. It's like, especially like with the Fairlight stuff is, I email Peter and say, right, I need this, and this. So he then has to then go and like either repair stuff to fulfill that or find something and then stick it in the post. And then it takes a good 2-3 weeks to come over from Australia.
I mean, my virus C's down, and I mean, I'm very lucky in that I'm able to run the old Power Core compact units.
Mm-hmm.
And somebody's hacked them recently. They've released a hack for all the Power Cores, so you don't need any licensing anymore. You can authorize in everything on them. Nice. So now because I've got 2 of them, I've effectively got 4 viruses sitting on my desk.
Nice.
So I'm not missing my virus at all. So it's that was amazing. People were moaning for months and years. Because TC just dumped them. Yeah,
well, it's funny you should say that because on that O2R, TC did a Unity board, which had a whole bunch of their effects and stuff on it. And I found one online, and then before I bought it, luckily I did it. I did a bit of research beforehand, and they because it needed a license to be activated, and of course, the O2R isn't made anymore, and TC completely dropped that product. But there's a guy who I found who's able, if you give him certain details of the card, he can then generate the code, and then you can just unlock it, and away you go.
I don't think the code is that long on the for those.
No,
cards,
it's not massive, but he.
I think it's only like 8 digits. So in the end, brute forcing that to find out whatever the hash is to generate that from the serial number isn't impossible. If somebody,
because Mark Barnes said I could have his old one, so.
Yeah, I mean, this was the thing that it came up on one of the virus pages on Facebook, and it was not virus TC pages, and it was this bloody great explosion. People saying, we could unlock all this, but nobody knew how to do it, and they were all sending me their licenses, and I was unlocking them and sending them back out. It was about 70 odd people I did for it in a week. But and as a consequence, the price of power cores did that. They jumped within a week, ridiculous. But
they were great. It's sad how, particularly when TC eventually started to do plugins a few years ago, started with the VSS3, and now they've done more of the System 6000 stuff. Is that they still haven't done all the things they used to have I mean,
Yeah.
there were many cracking. Even before then, Mercury back in the day, which wasn't a power core thing, it was a native thing, but that was an amazing thing.
Mm.
Which was the sort of System 100 based synth, and
Yeah.
20 years ago.
Yeah.
And yeah, there was some power core there, SH101 clone. That was
Yeah,
a
that's
power
on
core
there.
synth.
Yeah, I've got that.
That sounded great, I can remember.
Yeah. Oh, I love it. It's just like I say. I'm lucky enough that my Mac is old enough that I can run it. So, still got a
Right.
FireWire port on it.
Well, I've got this vintage cheese grater, which is a very good heater in winter.
Yeah. Yeah.
Where its main job is running Neuron, VS, and some other historic software.
Yeah. Yeah. I've got Neuron VS on mine as well. I think somewhere there's a way of running it, which I discovered. So I've got that sitting in there as well. I've got a few really strange bits going on.
Yeah, I basically use it as a VSL server, so I just have the different sessions open on there normally at an auto start, and then I just connect to the correct VSL instance from here, and just decide to not use it, and then get annoyed that the Neuron one crashes quite a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, it's better than the last Windows release. I give them that because that came on the CD. That release is interesting. I mean, it's definitely slightly, yeah. It only crashes like every time you use it once or twice.
That reliable.
Yeah, I don't know what you mean. That's really reliable. If you ever try to use how it came out of the box.
Oh right, fair enough.
Well, to be fair, I'm not using it on appropriately aged system. So maybe if you were to use it on a G4, then it would be better. Who knows? Maybe it wouldn't crash all the time.
Yeah, I've got a G4 sitting up there actually. I could give it a go.
It's just the version you can download of Neuron. That is, of course, only the Intel version now.
Yeah, oh right. Yeah.
But if you want, what does this say? Sure, it says somewhere what it could run off. 10.2 processor, G4, G5.
I've got 10.4 on that G4 up there. So.
RAM recommended 512 megabytes.
Oh, that's got 1.25 in it, I think.
VST 2.0 compatible host.
I'm not sure what I've got on that.
It doesn't say anything about AU.
Well, I've got enough computing stuff here that I could probably run it on something. It's like bloody museum here with some of the stuff I've got. So. My house to computers is like, oh wow, is that the Nuke controller?
Yeah.
Nice.
I bought the whole thing boxed like 8 years ago. Really cheap. This is a solid chunk of hardware. Don't drop this on your foot. It's painful.
But they're rare as hen's teeth, aren't they? They're really difficult to get hold of.
I mean, you just need to buy the box somewhere. But that is stupidly expensive these days.
Yeah, it's finding them. It's finding
But it's, like this thing is, apart from the joysticks, it's quite useful because with these knobs, you can hear that.
Yeah.
You can hear the encoder. You need to twist quite a lot to go from 0 to 127 because there's no acceleration or anything. So if you're trying to set the cutoff with this, you're just twisting. I finally reached the value I wanted.
That's like using an M Audio Venom, isn't it? I mean, it takes about 4 years to get up.
Yeah. And it's sad that they never finished the stick recording. Never put that in there in the software. That would have been nice. But it's a lovely box. It looks nice. That's the main reason to have it. And it sounds like nothing else.
Old Hydrasynth seems to be behaving itself now.
Has it
What was it
got
doing?
over its got over its fanny fit? Is it?
I'm going out of tune.
I was googling that while you guys were
That's
chatting.
the face I made.
It looks, or from the post that I could see, because apparently the Hydrasynth Deluxe doesn't really have many problems, and when it does, they seem to get fixed by new software updates. But it's probably something to do with the Rolly being attached to it. And if you reset the local on-off setting, it should bring it back to happiness.
No. The Rolly wasn't attached to it.
Oh, okay.
No.
So it was nothing to do with...
Just plugged into Cubase and it suddenly went out of tune. But I'm still confused about where you go up the keyboard and then one key would be 3 octaves too low.
Yeah, okay.
And stuff like that. Just like a CS80 would, or a memory mode would go mental for some reason or another. Like
There's a
cables.
synth miasma in your house.
That's added realism. Some people would pay for that.
Yeah. Real vintage.
Yes, it is absolute vintage sound.
Yeah. Comes with real vintage smoke.
It's when it comes with real vintage fire.
Yeah.
I've had that happen.
Yeah.
Well, how would you do it? You would like have an entire circuit board full of tantalum caps of different age, but goes one after the other catch fire over a few years.
Well, the tantalums didn't tend to catch fire; they just went bang.
The one that went on the Series 3
tantalum with a power
downstairs.
supply that's used for smoothing. Very good.
The one that went up on the Series 3 that I had here, turned it on, and there was this. It was like a jet of flame coming out of the vent at the top. I thought, oh fuck! Off.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you have an inductor at the other end of a tantalum capacitor. Well, I mean, what can happen there is just magic, and you have magic smoke. But I can remember a console power supply I once was trying to work out what was wrong, and I was like having a schematic and tells you, this test point at the inductor 300 volts, and then I read like 480. That's a bit higher than at this test point on the other side of the inductor, like something along the lines of 100, 150 volts. So it's just like 50. That's like twice the voltage across this inductor. Yes. That's not good. Turn around, accidentally knock the thing with the back of my chair. I'm turned the other way in the room, see a bright green spark, and that power supply was no more. It was a very interesting experience.
Alright, see if we... In June.
There you go.
Thank God for that. worry about that.
That's fun in tune.
The bells.
I wish you'd give me warning for that, Robbie. It kills my ears every time you hit that.
Oh, mate.
I think I'm going to have to go.
Yeah, I'm going to have to duck out as well.
Yeah, I'm ready. I'm ready for the sack hitting.
But enough about that.
And they used to call it wife abusing. But...
Oh God!
No, I'll leave her to it. She's got herself a bottle of wine, and I was going to say she's watching a weepy.
Pornhub.
No, I think she's watching Guardians of the Galaxy again. Her favourite film of all time.
Has she seen the trailer to the new Thor film yet? Love and Thunder.
I think so.
The Guardians are in that.
Oh, are they?
Yeah, along with Natalie Portman looking rather nice.
Yeah, as long as there's plenty of rocket in it, I'm fine.
No, I've got to take the missus's motor in for its MOT tomorrow. Which I don't know. I mean, judging by the fucking crap that car's given us already, I'm not entirely sure it's going to do well. But hey, she chose it. It's up to her.
I'll say one thing for the Chrysler: it's behaved. It's been a very good girl. Once the what's the word? The weaknesses were dealt with when I first got it.
You mean the wiring?
No. The fuse. It's the fuse, but it's not really the wiring. It's the fuse box is shite. So I got another fuse box for 20 quid. Put that in
not
it,
bad.
and it cured 90% of the problems the car had. And then did the alternator, because there's a little drip tray that they're supposed to put over the alternator. It leaks diesel, and it burns the alternator out. So fitted the new alternator because it wasn't really charging, and then fitted the £3 drip tray. So, and that's it, and it's been absolutely faultless, even with Fiona driving it.
Impressive.
Yeah.
Oh, you know that Arteon that I said I'd found that had done like 10,000 and was within my price range
Oh, did you guys see
and
it?
was a diesel? No, I didn't, because I forgot to check, and it's got a fucking manual gearbox.
Oh.
So no, sorry. Once you go DSG, never go.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's far too energetic. You can't be
I've
doing
just
that.
got a Seat a Rona. I've had it 4 weeks. It's got, and I've gone from a Ford, and the Seat's got a fucking DSG in it, and it's like, oh my god, what a car!
Lovely,
So,
innit?
are you calling it Matt Serona?
No, I'm just going to get a C and put it in front.
Serona.
I'm going to put a C in front of it and call it Car Owner. Yeah.
No,
Yes, well, we're all
DSG is a
car
revelation.
Yeah, no, different world. I mean, it's been like 3 years of hell driving the Ford, and then go into that, and it's just like redemption.
Well, I'm
Yeah.
taking it wasn't a GT40. So what was the Ford?
It was an EcoSport.
Ah.
Yeah.
Is that the 3-cylinder one?
Shock it, yeah. But so's the Arona. The Arona's only a 1 litre, but just
Was that the
Does it better?
what do they call it? A suitcase-sized engine.
Yeah.
do you know what? Apparently, the engine block is smaller than it can sit on a sheet of A4 and have overlap.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's tiny in the Eco. But yeah,
Bloody hell.
Yeah,
It's a
different.
electric car.
I took out a might have been a CC before I got my CC, or was it a Passat? It might have been a Passat, and that had a 3-cylinder 1.5 in it. And I got in it, I was thinking this is going to be awful. No, turbocharged 1.5. It was really nice, and it didn't sound awful either.
No.
You know, it just
Yeah, but I've got an aversion to odd number cylinders. I come out in hives.
no,
I used to have
Gotta be
a
even.
5-cylinder. I used to have a 5-cylinder.
What, Quattro?
No,
I
Fiat
had
Bravo
one of them.
HGT.
Oh, I had the Audi Quattro. Oh.
Yeah, inline 5. That made the noise that made, because it wasn't quite a V. It wasn't a 6-cylinder, but it was
But
definitely
it
wasn't a 4 pot.
four. Yeah.
But it was just, there was something about the tone of that engine, and fuck me, it went.
I had a 6-cylinder BMW 525, and that was a lovely engine.
I had a,
So, my limit is 12. I had an S for a while.
my boss at the time, he had a Lexus
Well, 2
IS
weeks.
200, and he was a real flash, absolutely proper wide boy. He was just flash kit, and we'd been at work somewhere, and we were all coming back. We was just like car share, and we got to I think we've been in Lowestoft, and we're coming back into Norwich. And just as you come back into Norwich, all the roads open up, and it's sort of like 3-4 lanes either side as you come back into the city. And we got to this traffic lights, and I'm in my Bravo, which is 155 fly-by-wire accelerator. It's really nice. And he's pulled up next to me in his 6-pot IS 200. And my mate who was in the passenger seat sort of winds his window and says, "Drag race!" All right then. And we both floored it, and I just left him standing. And my other mate that was in that car with him said he was trying to turn everything off just to get a little bit extra power, like turn the aircon off. Left him standing. It was a beautiful little car. That was. I really miss it.
My son's a mechanic at Land Rover, and he was telling me they were out doing a pre-delivery inspection on an electric Jag, the big electric Jags. He says, and only the level 4 technicians, he's level 2 at the minute, are allowed to do the PDIs on those. Doing their normal test route, and this wanker in an M5 comes up behind him, flash, 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 flash.
You
And
don't need to specify that it's a wanker in an M5. It's an M5.
And the tech just
How you
looked at
spell
my,
wanker?
well, yeah.
BMW.
The tech just looked at my son and went, "Look at the mirror." and he put his foot down, and it doesn't pick up like a normal car. It's instant 400 brake. And
Yeah.
apparently this M5 did that in the rear view mirror, just disappeared backwards. Fucking left him for dead. It was brilliant.
Yeah.
He tells me all these little stories about shit that he gets, like the Range Rover SVR. He says that's frightening.
Yeah.
He says, but the nice thing is, he says the level 4 techs over there are allowed to take police and ambulance vehicles out on blues and twos. If they come in with
to test them.
if they come in with a fault that's reported at over 70 mile an hour, so if they're doing like a chase or something, and the car develops a fault at 140 mile an hour, they're allowed to take it out at 140 mile an hour under blues and twos to find the fault. He says
That's reason, though.
that's fun when you go out with them doing that.
Which could take weeks. We're going to Chessington Zoo. Do you want to come?
They do in 20 minutes.
Who's on the lunch run today?
Yeah.
I think one of the nicest drives I've had, and the fastest drive I've had, was a friend had a Jag XJS with the 6-litre HE spec, and it's the only time I've done over 150 miles an hour on the roads. That was phenomenal.
And there's still a little bit left in them. If you do the what they call
They
it,
could be tuned to 180.
Yeah, there's I think it's called a Crytek or something chip that you put in it and reprogram them up, and you can get just shy. I think it's about 189.
Yeah.
It'll do before it starts doing this business, you know.
I passed one of them on the back of a flatbed on the way back from yours at the weekend. It didn't look like it, it wasn't a wreck or anything. It looked like it was being just moved, but
They couldn't afford the fuel for it.
yeah, quite.
More likely, bottom hose went.
Yeah.
Could you really stink them up, and you can split the bottom hoses on them because the water pressure can get quite pooky. I mean, Fiona's had herself doused when she went to fill the expansion bottle in the Chrysler. Because she goes, it's making a funny noise. And I said, there's no water in it, darling, at all. It's dry as a bone. Oh, I'll put some water in it. She went over to it and went, psst. Oh, freak. I said, no, darling, you're supposed to wait a little while. Or do it slowly. She goes, oh, don't on my smart car. What? Use a straw on your smart car. I don't know. But I must admit, the smart car was pretty cool. For a tiny little car, it ticked all the boxes beautifully.
I still preferred the original Mini, though.
Apparently, a smart car you can wheelie. Apparently, you can wheelie those.
That wouldn't surprise me. Actually.
No, apparently, Luke was telling me, he said that when he was doing his training, he was going up to the Land Rover Academy. One of the guys borrowed his granddad's smart, and they were wheeling it.
Yeah.
Basically reversing.
They did do a Brabus version, didn't they?
They did.
The Brabus one was with the flappy paddles and all that business on it. Yeah,
I've got flappy paddles.
Oh, have
Yeah,
you?
same here. Yeah, because I'm a cripple.
The only place I could ever see me use, because I tried, using the flappy paddles, and it just doesn't feel right in that car. But if I'm going up a mountain, I can absolutely see me using them, because it's much better to have manual control of the gearbox when you're doing sort of like twisty mountain road.
Yeah.
But I haven't been able to go. I haven't been able to take this one to Italy yet, so I'm hoping I can. But no.
It still feels alien to me because I've been out of manual for 4 years now, and I still go to drop gears.
I still rest my hand on it.
Yeah.
I've got to have my hand on the knob.
Yeah.
It's really weird, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, because Fiona was looking at a really early Cooper exterior hinge one.
Oh, lovely.
Oh, nice.
But she ended up going for that midget, which was probably not such a good move.
Sort of TR5 the other day in that sort of dirty burnt yellow colour that they had.
Oh, yeah.
It was a lovely little thing.
It was Harvest Gold, I believe.
Harvest Gold.
It was called. Yeah, would you believe? And there's Roman bronze was another one. Which is
My uncle had a Spitfire.
Rust, yeah.
He had a Spitfire that was in that kind of dirty yellow, and that burst into flames. It was parked up by the side of the road, and it just decided it was going. Oh,
Mate of mine used to have the Stag with the SD1 engine in it.
Oh, lovely.
Oh, that was
Nice.
you go, that ain't going in that hole. Oh, it does go in that hole. Okay.
I got taken to some grass track rallying many years ago, and there was a guy there with a mini Clubman with an SD1 engine in the back.
With locked rear axle, single rear axle.
I couldn't say, but I just remember.
Yeah, they make them go like stink in the grass race.
They stuck this Rover SD1 engine in the back of this Clubman, and it just it was bonkers, absolutely mental.
Well,
I
it
saw
was
a
like
guy
that Metro with the
I have had
the
the honour
rally
of
Metro.
driving
The
the
6R4.
6R4.
Yeah, I've had the honour of driving one of them. Holy shit. That is
I had two Metros
ridiculous.
back in the day. My first car was a Metro City X.
My brother-in-law used to collect rare cars. He had a 74 V8 Vantage Aston.
Nice.
Oh, nice.
Have you ever seen the Tickford Metros?
Yes.
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 He had 3 of them.
Wow.
Remember the Tickford Capri?
Yes.
No, he destroyed one of them down here, and he's still got 2 rusting away in his garage because he killed both of them and never rebuilt them. So there's 2 Tickfords sitting just up the road in a garage somewhere.
The only problem
If I ever
with the
get my
Metros
garage
were
cleared out, I'll give you a call.
they rusted to bits.
Oh, the front wings. Terrible.
More than the original minis did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But nice ride. That gas suspension, Hydragas.
Get them set right.
Yeah. Oh, they were good little cars. My first one was the City X. It was the 1 litre City X, and then I upgraded to the 1.3L.
But you could tune that quite easily.
Oh yeah,
Loads
and
of K&N air filters. And
I used to go and grab all the bits. There was we had a
I
breakers yard.
did all that to this car. That was mine.
I used to go to the breakers yard and find an MG Metro and then just pitch. I actually fitted the MG Metro, the horseshoe spoiler at the back. I fitted one of those on mine. Didn't know what the hell I was doing. I just thought, all you've got to do is drill some holes, and it didn't turn out too bad actually.
Here's a bit of trivia for you. 1979,
Full.
a mini chrome bumper direct from Leyland was £7.
Adjusted
There
for
you go.
inflation.
Oh yeah, I was
But
talking
still, probably not a
to
lot.
one of my customers who restores minis up in Yorkshire. And he says, yeah, they're not much more expensive now. You can still, you can get a bumper. He said to be about 40 quid. I said, well, yeah, you think about 79 to it's about £7, isn't it? Really? But he says, he said you can still get all the panels. There's people making panels and all sorts for it.
lovely cars.
I mean,
There's a big kind of cottage industry. That's not a big cottage industry, but there is a big industry of small people making these parts to keep those cars going.
But
My
Mark
first
1
car-
Escorts, what the hell? 75k?
Yeah.
It's 'cause- well,
One of my friends,
not even in Mexico. It's like,
one of my friends, her fella's got one, and he's done it up. It's just immaculate, and he takes it to all the shows, and it always has a crowd of people around. It's a lovely thing.
I always
you
preferred the Mark 1.
talk about 6R4. I've always wanted to drive an RS200.
Oh God, yeah, I love one of those. Yes.
Yeah, they don't go round corners as well as you think.
No, I've seen Jeremy Clarkson crash one
Yeah,
before. Yeah, but what a car!
because I've taken one of them round from the jet wash round when I used to work down at the coachworks. Once they're on gravel, it's just an uncontrollable beast. It's all over the place. You try to brake,
It weighed
wants to
nothing and
slide.
had a Cosworth engine, didn't it? I mean,
Yes.
It was just off the scale.
There really wasn't enough weight on the front. It was the same with the, the 1600 Capri. It was the same. They weren't heavy enough on the front. So when you went around the corner, it didn't really want to go around that corner because there was nothing really pushing down on the road.
Yeah.
Now the fun cars were things like the original Audi Quattro,
Oh
or
yeah.
the Lancia Delta HF Integrale.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shit, this has
shit
turned
on
into
the
Top Gear, isn't it?
No, it's just that they were very interesting cars, and
Yes.
they were
Yeah, they-
very different to
do.
all the other stuff, and they
They-
were affordable.
They don't
just do
make
it.
interesting cars now.
Well, just do a music technology program. Do a music technology show as usual, but just talk like like Jeremy all the way through it.
Tonight, Kent's Hydra goes out of tune.
Yeah. He went
And
out
on
of
that
tune.
bombshell,
Robbie drinks some grappa.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
he went out of
And,
tune like
and who,
twisting the
who's our
nuts.
James May?
Captain
Look at
Slow.
the barnet. Look at the barnet. Look.
Yeah,
Come on.
it's got to be Kent, Captain Slow. Oh dear.
Oh, well.
I
Anyway,
can't take
on that
anymore.
night, on that note,
Yes.
Indeed, bedtime.
Back to the studio.
Thank you,
Yeah.
gentlemen.
All right, guys, take care.
great
Have a lovely
chatting,
one.
folks.
See you again soon. Won't see you Friday. So have a
This
good
turned
one.
into another long-winded test.
What were you actually testing?
The Hydra.
Oh right, okay.
She was just jumping out of tune, and then played the odd voice at the wrong pitch.
I see.
Well, hundreds of pitches out.
And it's taken 3 hours 50 minutes for it to work itself out.
Absolutely.
So it's working consistently now?
Seems so.
Oh, good. I got pulled up on some work crap. So.
Right, well, I'll bid everyone good night. And,
Indeed.
see you all
See you,
soon.
Sats.
Have a
Cheers.
good one.
See you guys.
See you later.
Yeah.
Well, guys, look after yourselves.
Bye.
Take care.
Oop.
Oh, stuck in the chair.